bad. Up. Hello and good evening. Hello and welcome to you all. I don't know if anyone's there, but if you are, welcome and a pleasure to be with you. Looking forward to some of you coming in shortly. Hopefully you will. At the moment, there's nobody, so it looks like I'm a little bit early. There we go. Waiting for an arrival. Hello to Paul's Claws and Jaws. Hello to Paulie. Hello to Paula. Hello to Chili Karin. Hello, regulars, lovely regulars. We do love a regular. Yes, I hope you can see me clearly and I hope you can hear me clearly. And whilst we're waiting for the others, I hope you've had a wonderful day. And let me ask you if you have any questions for me to begin, because we may as well wait for a few more. We've got 14 of you. You're coming in thick and fast, but there we are. Thank you. Hello to Susan and Janice and Paula and Miss Marple. We love Miss Marple. I love Miss Marple. I used to love watching that as a child. I'd sit by the fire and I'd have a whiskey when I was about 7. I loved the music. I must look at what the music was, actually. I love the music from the original Miss Marple and fabulous series. The most recent ITV series, absolutely awful. Couldn't stand that. Absolutely revolting. Just, Joan Hickson was the best Miss Marple, without a doubt. And what a wonderful role she played. Joan Hickson was a fabulous actress. And there we go. Right, we've got Jen from Canada. Hello to Jen in Canada. Any more petition signatures today? Well, only a couple. Not enough. Come on. You've got to try harder, you lot. Share it, please. Come on, share more widely. We're nearly up to 500. Once it gets to 500, it gets a bit more traction. So we want a bit of traction. But this is how my other petitions began. But when you get to 500 or 1,000, it then goes, because then that change thing starts sharing it. But it's a terrible system to use because I don't understand how it works, because you have to click all these things. And sometimes people don't click. Like a certain person sitting next to me, we did sign it for her, but she's not on the list. So it seems she didn't actually sign it because she didn't sign it properly. So I don't know how her signature worked. Anyway, do I like Gilbert and George? I've never met Gilbert and George. Well, I've been in their presence, but I've never met them. Friends of my late godfather, lovely man. He lived in Spitalfields and then later opposite Fortnum and Mason in Albany. He was a neighbor of theirs in Spitalfields, and he was great friends with them, but I never met them. I didn't ever get to know them, so I don't know them. They are rather eccentric, yes, but they don't go out very much. They don't go to exhibitions of their own. They're a bit bizarre, but look, they add color to the world. So I say they're fabulous. Wonderful for them. Absolutely great. You've just seen me on Ron's show. It was very interesting. Yes, Chili. I enjoy talking with Ron Swanson. We don't agree about the certain Julia missing Madeline fake woman, but there we go. And he's a big supporter of fake Madeline, but he is a nice man to talk to, and I enjoy chatting with him about other things. Some of his guests who talk about Meghan Markle and Samantha and all that, I'm equally a little not so into. But I enjoy chatting with him one-on-one. But tomorrow I'll talk with him on a panel and probably have a row with one of his guests. So that'll be a bit of fun, won't it? So you can tune into that if you have time to listen to yet more nonsense and drivel from me. Right. Okay. Hi from Belfast, says Nicola. I love Belfast, an absolutely great city. And they have the wonderful Titanic gin, of course, because, of course, the Titanic was manufactured there. Belfast, a wonderful place. I'd love to go to Southern Ireland, though, to explore Dublin and County Cork and all those places properly. I'd love to go to those places. So I'd love that. Paul Joyce is also from Ireland. Yes, Ireland is a place I'd love to go to. I'd love to go and look at the story of Sophie de Toscan de Plantier, the French lady who was murdered very horribly in the south of Ireland. And my friend Nicola Tallant, who is the Sunday World, a brilliant journalist who, you know, she got through the IRA, all sorts of things. She's done everything, that lady. She's the best. Her podcast, which I did one with her on Ghislaine Maxwell, absolutely brilliant lady. And that Sunday World and her podcasts, they are superb. If you want to listen to a really good podcast, and she does one most days, go on the Sunday World, which is an Irish newspaper. I don't know why it's called the Sunday World, because it comes out every day, but I think the name of it's a bit odd. It's not the news of the world, but it's got the same kind of red line top. But anyway, it's Nicola Tallant, simply the best. She is a talent. Sorry, there's irony in the name. There we go. Right. Right. Hello to Lady Min, says Jen Wilson. Well, we're not getting a hello back by the sound of it, but there we are.
What?
You were given a hello from Jen Wilson.
Hello, Jan.
Jen.
Jenny.
No, it's not Jenny, it's Jen. Anyway, there we go. Hello to Nicola Crompton and evening to Mr. Lee Kicker. We love Mr. Lee Kicker. And the south of Ireland is wonderful, says Nicola. Right. My next door neighbor was Wallace Hartley. He was the bandmaster on the Titanic. Well, did he survive, Mr. Lee Kicker? My friends' relatives got off with their luggage, as I think I've told you on previous occasions, which was a terrible thing in my view, because that meant other people died. And then they got off with their dogs. There were 6 dogs, I think, that survived the Titanic. So out of 12 dogs, 6 of them survived. So there we go. Good evening from Margate, says Lewis. Hello, Lewis. Well, Margate wasn't far away from where I used to live in Broadstairs, and I love Broadstairs. I don't know much about Margate, to be honest. I don't know why I never really spent time there, but I was always in Broadstairs because I loved Broadstairs. But there we go. No, Mr. Lee Kicker said no, he didn't get off because he kept playing whilst it sank. Well, Mr. Lee Kicker, I say to the memory of your neighbour Wallace Hartley, poor man, that he was so kind to try and help other people by keeping their spirits high as they were sent into the icy waters of the Titanic. My friend Alex Foley, the Honourable Alex Foley, who helped organise James Ballard's expedition to the Titanic, did a great job in finding the Titanic. And then, of course, there was the submersible, which tragically blew up, and everything associated with the Titanic is quite bizarre. So there we are. But that poor man, what a shame. Jules B says Margate, they call it Planet Thanet. Yes, Thanet, of course, means the Isle of the Dead, because there was a lot of burials that went on in Thanet. But there's lots of positivity in that area. I think it's a wonderful area. I'm not a great fan of the new MP, Polly Billington. I think she's a bit of a woke wazzock. Let's be honest. She's a bit curious. There we go. I'll come to people of who are a bit curious, but she's not doing much for the area. The last MP wasn't much use to Tory either, but he sadly got the sepsis, and sorry for him for that, because that was an awful thing to happen to him. He lost his arms and his legs and everything, and terrible situation. His legs, I think he lost. There we go. Jules B says it's a lovely area. You've been there many times. Well, I'll be going back. I love to go and see all my friends and my wonderful friend down there. I'll give him a big shout out. I don't think he's listening, but if he is, Mario. Mario had his beard, his hair, everything, his downstairs regions, his legs waxed and everything else, shaved off for the special needs children. Yesterday at the rugby club because he trains children and he's been on the radio and I've talked about Mario before. Mario is the most majestical of gentlemen and he's done so much good and we want to celebrate tonight Mario. So raise a big glass to Mario. Come on, Lady Min, you better raise a glass to Mario. Oh, she's not even paying attention. There we go. Anyway, to Mario.
Mario.
Yes, there we go. Yes. No. So there are good people in the world like him who do so much good. And down there are lots of others like this man called Graham Burns who runs marathons and all the rest. Good people. There's lots of good people everywhere. Let's be honest. Aside from all these bad people we talk about, there are so many good people in the world. Let's celebrate the good people as much as we criticize the bad. And there are 58 of you here now, so people are coming in. You're gradually arriving. You can't raise the Titanic, says Paulie. I don't know why Nicole wants to raise the Titanic. No, it's not going to be possible. It's split into lots of bits. I believe it's in 3 main parts. And it's been there since 1912. So the answer is no. You're not going to raise the Titanic. There's this lunatic who I happened to meet once. He was from Australia. I forget his name. He'll come to me in a moment. He's a senator in Australia. He runs mines and he's totally nuts. And he's very fat. He's absolutely huge. And he falls asleep in the parliament. He's an absolute disgrace. He wanted to reinvent the dinosaur also, and he's rebuilding the Titanic. And I went to his press conference. I was invited to his fancy dinner with the nasty Astors, these horrible Astor people who were very wicked. They treated their mother so badly, that one of them went to prison, and his wife was known as Miss Piggy. They treated her so badly that they tried to just steal everything from her. Awful people, and they, because the Astors had been on the Titanic, they were there at the party, and awful people. There was a party in New York, there was a party in London, and I asked a simple question. I said, you're rebuilding the Titanic. Do you plan to sink it in the same place? They got the security guards and they threw me out of the press conference in the Ritz Hotel. So I was removed. I was quite honored to be removed, actually, because I thought it was a sick exercise. You should not try to, recreate such a thing. That thing is a graveyard for the ghosts of the dead people who tragically died there. The thousands of and they didn't need to die because they didn't put enough life rafts on the thing, and they didn't put people into the boats. Many of the boats were made for 40. They left the boat that the people I talked about was meant for 40 people. It left with 12 people on it. It was meant for 40. Disgraceful. The handling of the whole thing was bad, but it was a different era, and lessons were perhaps learnt. We'll see. But we had the Costa Concordia. That was a pretty stupid boat crash, wasn't it, as well? So perhaps they haven't been learnt. So there we are. Right. Anyway, next question. We'll talk about something else, not the Titanic. I'm bored of the Titanic. Had enough of that. Titanic, the Titanic, tragically was a disaster. And that's all we need to say about it for now. Next question. Okay, any more questions before we start? I need a few more people to arrive. We'll give them a chance. So, right. And as for the film, no, the film was a load of old rot, completely made up. Most of it mumbo jumbo. All that Leonardo DiCaprio sitting on a door nonsense is a load of rubbish. Made up people didn't exist. Total fakery, but nice bit of drama if you can make some money out of it, which is what that film producer did. So good for him. Right. Okay. Yes, you have your conspiracy theories about the Titanic not being the Titanic. I'm not really into conspiracy theories, as you know, so I'm not going to go down that route. We'll save that for other channels that you have that discussion on another channel. But you're a wonderful person, Paulie, but I don't want to go down that route. Not interested in discussing if there was a fake boat. It's not really something I know enough about, so I'm not going to go down that route. I don't do conspiracy. Okay. Right. The killer nurse. Right. Mr. Lee Kicker. Right. Well, if you want to talk about the killer nurse, we can talk about the killer nurse. Lucy Letby is her name. She's a vile, horrible woman. That's all I shall say about that. Mr. Lee Kicker says dinosaurs didn't exist. Okay, well, I think you might be wrong there, given remains of such things have been found here, there, and everywhere. There we go. But you're entitled to your view. Would I like to see the remains of it in a submersible? No. No. Right. Anyway, any more questions? Let's have a few more questions before we get to a few more viewers. So, questions, please. Let's have some questions from the audience. Right. We don't want Lucy Letby. Yes. No. No, I don't want to talk about Lucy Letby. We talked enough about her yesterday. It lasted for hours. It was ridiculous. She's a horrible person. Evening to all from Malta, says Kathy. Hello to you, Kathy in Malta. Please don't say hello to my sister's ex-husband's family, because they're awful people who live in Malta and quite powerful. But anyway, I won't mention who they are because I don't want to cause trouble for my sister. But vile, horrible, evil people. And no, I won't be visiting Malta anytime soon because of people like that, because I don't think I want to run into them. There we go. Right. It got squashed, the submersible going down. Well, no, it blew up, actually. That's what happened. But how do I feel about Russell Brand? Well, I'll come to Russell Brand when we start talking. I've been on the Ron Swanson show talking about Russell Brand earlier, but I will repeat much of my story later so you can hear a bit of it. So you don't have to go on his show. You can listen to it on mine instead. So we'll talk about that. We're a bit like Sky News on repeat here now. I'm going to repeat the same story twice. But anyway, that's no problem because you are my viewers and you're my audience. So I'm speaking to you. But anyway, right. It's very light tonight wherever I am. Yes. Outside there is a bit of light, but the light itself, is that better? Do you prefer that, or do you prefer that? Please tell me. No, the light's over there. I don't know. It's very weird. For now, we'll keep it over there because now it looks like I'm actually human rather than looking like I'm Donald Trump. I looked like it was lit up as Donald Trump, didn't I? I would look like the orange blob. There we go. Russell Brand has gone live tonight, so I believe he's on this thing called Rumble. I don't know what Rumble is. I don't have it, so I don't use it. So I have no idea. That was mentioned whilst I was live on air on the Ron Swanson show. So I don't know what he said because I haven't had chance to look. You look like Dracula with the lamp. Okay, yeah. Ooh, right. Oh, there we are. There you go. You can have a bit of Dracula for a moment. So I now look like Dracula. Ooh, scary. Anyway, no, I'll put it over here for now until the light goes down a bit. Okay, because if that makes you happier, that's probably better. So the lighting is situation in this house is absolutely awful because I haven't got proper lights, so I don't know how to do it. But now it's gone all weird again. Every time I move it, it goes weird. Right. Okay. So it seems to be okay for the moment. It's not a clever move by Russell Brand. Russell Brand, when you're charged with an offense of that type, the best thing to do is go to ground, shut your mouth, and lawyer up. Wait for trial. Don't go mouthing off because anything you say will be used against you ultimately in the court of public opinion and in the court of the media. So he is a very stupid man, but he is so much of a two-faced loudmouth. He is, someone who played Dr. Nefario in Despicable Me in 2010. How very appropriate. There we go. And I said that on the Ron Swanson show, so I'm repeating myself here, but not repeating myself here, but I'm repeating what I said there. So anyway, absolutely. When I go back to the UK, will I carry on doing videos? Yes, I will, and obviously I have to go back to the UK very soon, so I will be doing that. And I need to go on a grand tour of the UK because that's what is being requested. So it's quite possible I could be in Edinburgh and all sorts of other places. So, yep, got to go around the UK. It's about time. I promised to do it last year. I didn't do it, which was pathetic. I need to hurry up, man up, grow up, and show up, don't I? So I've got to do it this year and do it myself because somebody else was going to organize it, and they were very, frankly, not much use. As much use as a chocolate teapot. And no, it's better I do my own thing and we find a way of doing it. Friends of mine, this is what they do. My friend John Simpson, he's on tour. He goes Chichester, he goes, Edinburgh, he goes Cardiff or wherever, Bognor Regis or wherever. He's doing a tour at the moment about the leaders and the lunatics, I think his tour is called. All the people he's ever spent time with whilst his career at the BBC, and what a fabulous man John Simpson is. He's got a far more interesting story to tell than I have, but yeah, I can sit on the stage with somebody and have a conversation, and that would be fabulous, and I'd enjoy it. So there we go. I look like Dracula. Okay, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Better to look like Dracula than to look like a dragon, I'd say. I'll come to dragons later on the woke. There we are. Right. Right. Didn't Russell Brand appear in the Spice Girl movie with Gary Glitter? I don't know if it was with Gary Glitter. I have no idea. Nicola says hello to Min. Hope she's doing okay. She says she's doing better. Right. You've delivered half a ton of steel to a house in Edinburgh today, Stevie D. Well, that's rather a lot of steel, isn't it, Lady Min?
Sorry.
He's delivered half a ton of steel to a house. Yes, well done to you. That's a lot of work by the sound of it. Come to Pendle. I'll show you the statue of Wallace Hartley. Pendle and the Pendle Witches. I know a lot about the Pendle Witches and how they were burnt at the stake at Lancaster Castle. terrible treatment of those people. Absolutely appalling. The Pendle Witches, awful. Absolutely dreadful. Right. Book function suites in hotels. We'll buy tickets. The money can go to the quiz prize. Okay, well, we'll see what happens. I will see what can be done. You want to send me a cape so I look like Dracula even more? Okay, you think I'm Dracula? Oh, God. Nosferatu, here I come. Right. Right. Okay. So there's 81 of you here. Is there any more questions? We need a few questions. Come on, a bit punchy questions. Come on, they're all here. Right. Okay. Right. Any questions? It's a BBC Radio 4 program. Any questions, by the way? There we go. So we need a few more questions. There's more of you. Okay. Come on in. Just you all. No. Anyway, so now I've been on the Ron Swanson program. Right. Who owns the yacht behind me? Some local person, and they're banging their house. They bought one house, and they bought the house next door, and they're banging the two houses into one. They make an awful racket. The noise is dreadful from 8 o'clock in the morning. And they even do it on a Sunday. They're very noisy. But some days they don't make noise, but most days they do. Is Barrymore going to be on Celebrity Big Brother 2025? Of course, I wouldn't think so, no. Michael Barrymore was on Celebrity Big Brother, and I hate the word celebrity. So crap. It's a crap, horrible name. I can't stand the word celebrity. It's such a naff thing. It's like saying luxurious. It's just awful. It's just a naff thing that common people say. So Celebrity Big Brother, he was on it. Well, it must have been a long time ago because Jimmy Savile was alive and he worshipped him and he dressed up as Hitler. So I wouldn't think they would have him on it again because he's been on it already once. Where is Michelle Mone? She's probably in the Isle of Man at her mansion, her £25 million mansion, with her £232 million that she profited from PPE. Lovely lady, old Michelle. Michelle Mone, the Mona. Mona and Grona, she should be called. It's not Wallace and Gromit, it's Mona and Grona. That's what we should call her and Barrowman, that fat, tubby little twerp who couldn't even fit into his shirt. Got all these millions and he couldn't even put on a shirt that fit. Absolutely ridiculous pair. There we are. Next question. Would I do a remake of Dracula if you bring back Hammer House of Horror? Well, what do you mean? You want me to be in it? I'm not an actor, so I don't think I'd be of much use, would I? So, but anyway, Hatchy, thank you for your question. Wouldn't surprise me, Paulie. He seems to be making a comeback. Michael Barrymore. No, Michael Barrymore is not making a comeback. Michael Barrymore is making a TikTok display of himself. And he's quite good at that because he's got this horrible agent. And I've rang up that horrible agent. I forget his name. I've got it in my notebook somewhere. Awful man. What a disgrace. Why not tell the truth? And why not give justice to the Lubbock family? Let's have justice for the Lubbock family. That's what I want to see. Nicola Mooney says, get your tour going. Yes, I'm definitely up for my tour. Want to do my tour. I'm ready to do it. Prince Harry charity scandal. Yeah, well, shame on him. We've talked about it the other day, so I don't really need to go over it all again. But, Prince Harry is a drip. He's pathetic. He's an absolute loser. He's an absolute disgrace. He's a waste of space. And the Centre Ballet, what a mess he's made of all of this. Like everything else he touches, that little rat bag piece of rubbish is a piece of junk. He should put a sock in it. He should go away. He went to California to seek privacy. Go and keep your privacy, you piece of rubbish. Go away. We don't like you, Prince Harry. We love Prince William. We love Catherine, and we love King Charles, and we love Camilla. Fabulous people. They are the best. They're doing a good job for Britain. Absolute great ambassadors. Meghan and Harry, sorry, spreading thin jam. Seriously, bog off. We don't need them. Absolutely awful people. Go back to Montecito, you lying pieces of toe rag. You're awful. Ghastly and grim grifters. Awful. Money making, obsessive, Netflix. What is it called? As ever. Boring. And as for you, Drippy Harry, come on, you pathetic specimen. Go away. Absolutely awful. Right. We're getting apologies in the background.
Sneezing.
The sneezing. I do say, sorry, but not for her. But I'm sorry she's sneezing. But there we go. Get a tour going. Prince Harry is a scandal. Yes. You love the tales of the unexpected. I do love the tales of the unexpected. Fabulous, fabulous. The tales of the unexpected were Roald Dahl's finest moments. I think they were better than his other books. The twists and the turns. There are over 100 and something tales of the unexpected. I've watched many, many of them when I lived in Broadstairs because there were 2 a day. And obviously I was by myself most of the time, so I would watch them either in the morning or the early evening on this, I don't know, yesterday or whatever channel it was. And they're only half an hour, and they provided me with light entertainment and company because I find I have to have something in the background. I can carry on doing my work, but I just have to have something in the background. And the tales of the unexpected, the twists and the turns, and everybody was in the tales of the unexpected. Joan Collins, Julian Fellows, John Gielgud, all sorts of people were in the tales of the unexpected. Absolutely work of genius by Roald Dahl. And they were so warped, when they had the meeting, the man's leg out of the freezer and all of this, and all sorts of twisted stories. Fabulous. The tea room story. I loved the tea room one. That was wonderful. That was a kind of amazing twist. But Tales of the Unexpected. Why can't we make programs like that in Howard's Way today? I loved Howard's Way, and we know Howard's Way, absolutely fantastic. All this boring programs they make today, they just don't have any spice. You've got to spice it up. Spice everything up in life. Without spice, life isn't nice. So spice it up. Right, and Miss Marple with Joan Hickson. Absolutely beautifully made. And, of course, Inspector Morse. The music by Barrington Furlong, the most fabulous composer. The Morse code was in the music. What a clever thing to do. People in the past used to think. People today are a little bit, woke. I'll come to woke in a moment when we get going. We're nearly at 100. When we get to 100, I'll start talking. What's my thoughts on more Harry? I don't want to talk about Prince Harry. You remember Roald Dahl sitting in the armchair at the beginning of Tales of the Unexpected. It confused the hell out of me because I expected he wrote kids' books. Well, you would. But that was the great thing about Roald Dahl. He could do multiple things, just like Arthur Ransom, who, I'm very connected to, of course. And Arthur Ransom may have written Swallows and Amazons and nice little books for children about sailing little boats around Lake Windermere and sailing on the Norfolk Broads and, little adventures. But, of course, Arthur Ransom was political correspondent for the Manchester Guardian, 1914 to 1918 in Russia. He played chess with Lenin. He married Trotsky's secretary. He was accused of being a spy. He wasn't a spy. The nasty BBC, in this particular instance, were wrong. He wrote books about fishing. People have multiple facets. It's like me. I talk about crime primarily. That's my main interest. But I like to write about architecture, and I like to write about history, and I like to write about horse racing. I like to write about lots of different things. So we can all do multiple things. So don't ever put anyone in an envelope. We can all do lots of things. And that is a very important thing to remember. Let's remember that. You liked Margaret Rutherford as Miss Marple. Well, she was not as bad as the most recent one. Who was the most recent one? I don't know what her name was. If she's the most recent one, I couldn't stand her. But I don't know who Margaret Rutherford is. I'm sorry, I'm probably being very ignorant. But the most recent one. Am I in Egypt? I'm not in Egypt. No, not as far as I'm aware, unless I've been transported on a flying carpet. So I don't believe I'm on a flying carpet. So there we are. Right. Right. Detective Wexford. That was okay, but it wasn't my very favourite. Keeping Up Appearances for You was your favourite. Well, of course, I loved having vodka shots with Patricia Routledge, an amazing lady, and Betty Boothroyd, fabulous ladies, absolutely great company, wonderful, wonderful pair. In Belgravia in London, absolutely fabulous people to spend time with. I was very lucky to spend time with them both together. They're joy to be with because they were both so fun. They just say, have another vodka shot. And it was just, everything had to be vodka shots. You couldn't have anything else. You weren't allowed anything else. Everybody left completely pissed. That was basically how it was. Yes, Margaret Rutherford was an old Marple in the 60s or 70s. But no, she wasn't Joan Hickson. Joan Hickson was the best. I'm sorry. Won't have anything say Joan Hickson wasn't the best. No. It's a bit like Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. There's no other person who should ever be Sherlock Holmes other than Jeremy Brett. And Jeremy Brett thought he was Sherlock Holmes by the time he died in the lunatic asylum. And I could have bought his letters for £200, and I stupidly didn't. Stupidest thing I ever did, because I was fascinated by these letters. And I don't know why I didn't do it, because at the time I could have afforded it. And it was very stupid. I just thought, I don't know if I want these morbid things, but he was so fabulous as Sherlock Holmes. He was the best Sherlock Holmes in those programs ever. There were all the others, Basil, whoever, and whatever, and right. Anyway, right. Anyway, right. Well, anyway. It's now 8:30, so I think we can begin our program properly. So it's 8:30 in France. Sorry, it's 7:30 in England. So we've had the half hour of chitter chatter. So right, okay. Right, I better go backwards in my book. Right, what shall I begin with? Right, okay. Well, I think we can begin with Owen Jones, because that is obviously the thing I had as a photograph on the front page of my documentation. Owen Jones is a nasty piece of work, I personally think. He blocked me on Twitter a long time ago, but of course, when the unblocking came, he hasn't unblocked me. He hasn't blocked me again yet, because I'm sure he will, because he'll probably not like any of what I've had to say about him. And my little poll, in fact, I stupidly did not get my poll. I'll have to get that up on my phone. So that's something I'm going to have to do. I forgot to get the results of my poll. Anyway, I'll get that up shortly. So, he's quite a popular person on the old YouTube. Is Owen Jones? Mr. Lee Kicker likes Owen Jones. Well, thank you. There we are. So do other people. I will come to other people's comments about Mr. Owen Jones in a due course. But Mr. Owen Jones, there we are. Anyway, he is someone who has 741,000 subscribers on YouTube. He's been raging on and banging on about gaslighting. He's been raging about Palestine, Gaza. Look, before I begin, what I'd like to say is I think the people of Palestine have a right to a home, and I think the people of Israel have a right to a home. I cannot stand Hamas. I think Hamas should be wiped out off the face of the earth. And I think Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal and a vile individual, and I think he should be arrested. So there you go. I have multiple opinions. I have friends who are Israeli, and I have friends who are Palestinian, and I have friends who support each side. I am impartial. I am not like Owen Jones. Owen Jones is a ranting, rabid, complete nutcase who is so anti-Israel, it is unheard of. He is mentally sick when it comes to attacking Israeli people. And, this weekend he went to what was called a bum mitzvah because he's gay. He went to what was called a Zionist gay party, and he pestered those people there, even though he is so pro-Palestinian. He should not have been present at such an event. These gay people who were enjoying the Israeli music, whether you are straight, gay, lesbian, whatever, and we'll come to all of that later in another topic. But seriously, he goes everywhere he can to cause controversy. Just because he's gay, he should not be going to their event, because some of these people at the event got very upset. There was a young lady who was there, and she got angry with him and shouted at him. And I believe there were 4 others who shouted at him. And of course, he can't cope because there are people shouting at him. Oh, poor weepy little pathetic little man that he is. He's very happy to go on the BBC, wherever else he can go, even though he hates the BBC. And we're going to come to how much he hates the BBC shortly. But he'll go on the programme. He'll turn up for the programme, won't he? The little rat will turn up anywhere because this is what he does. He is a wicked little pest. He is a petulant pain in the arse. This revolting man raging about Palestine, Israel's pack of lies. He says the Western media treats Israel's lies and spreads them. Well, Israel has a right to defend itself. With what happened, so does the Palestinians. I'm not saying any of this, but why is this creep given airtime? He said, I've been a victim of background baiting myself. What? He is a moron. He is a fool. He is worse than the village idiot. Why is this twit given all this space? He said, the footage I've seen is shocking. I'll remember it for the rest of my life, going on about these ambulances. And yes, I'm sure it is terrible what was seen. But I'm sorry, this man, Owen Jones, the mouse Owen Jones, in fact, he's like Russell Brand, and I branded him a mouse earlier. He said, "There's more. It's a litany of lies. It's gets worse. Wait to hear this. Israeli lies." Everything he goes on about lies, lies. He hates the BBC, he hates the Red Cross, he hates the government, he hates CNN, he hates the Washington Post. They will all face a reckoning. It's propaganda spread by the BBC. They shouldn't allow Israelis freedom of speech. They're not facts. I don't believe it. Have you ever heard such a bag of bilge and a load of old rot from this silly man? There are two sides to every story. We all know that. And yes, of course, we're all partial in this story, and some of us believe one side more than another. But Owen Jones is one of those people who just cannot keep his trap shut. He has to make this all about himself because Owen Jones is making money out of all of this. Let's be honest, Owen Jones, who has 741,000 subscribers on YouTube, every time he opens his mouth, a lot of them pay him money. Yes, and he gets quite a lot of donations, I've noticed. I've looked at a few of his videos. Well done him, if that's the case. He said, "Are you people on crack? Do you think you are serious journalists of the BBC?" He raged, "You cannot make this SHIT up." Because he gets more and more angry. And this is a man who is invited on BBC Question Time. He's on the BBC Daily Politics. He's on all sorts of things. He gets everywhere. He gets around. He's like the village bike. He's on Jeremy Vine, you know, the man who hates the cyclist. But Jeremy Vine and I've always found him very polite. But I've been on the Jeremy Vine thing in the background, but not on the actual program. I called in. It's worth losing our SHIT about the insanity. It's also F star upped. The BBC is systematically whitewashing the crimes, orphaned of the narrative. Great journalism there, BBC. Do you want a Pulitzer Prize? I really could go on and on, he said. I'd say we really would rather you didn't. I'd say Owen Jones, put a sock in it. Owen Jones is a 40-year-old, but he's incredibly like a petulant child. He was born in 1984 in Sheffield. He read history at University College, Oxford, after going to a comprehensive school or whatever he went to. Nothing that's wrong with a comprehensive school, but you know, he bangs on about it because he bangs on about everything. He makes a fuss about every single element of everything that ever happened to him. And he was attacked when he was because he was in a pub and and all the rest of it. But anyway, his father Robert predictably was a union organizer. He met the mother Ruth, who was a computer scientist. They met through membership of militant tendency, a Trotskyist group in the Labour Party. And he's in a civil partnership with a Brazilian doctor. So he's very happy now with his Brazilian doctor. And cheers to you, Owen. So, Owen, happiness galore to you in your relationship. But seriously, you are the most annoying voice in the entirety of Britain, other than that awful woman that you also are involved with, that awful Ash Sarkar. She's dreadful. And she's got a bloody book out. I won't be reading it. Prior to journalism, Owen worked as a trade union lobbyist. He was parliamentary researcher for John McDonnell MP, and he worked for the historian Eric Hosborne, indexing and archiving his papers. He's been a columnist for The Guardian since 2014. Well, his columns have gradually got worse and worse. This Corbynista is a complete nuisance, and his columns are appalling and awful. Jane Hennessy says, I like Ash. Well, you're entitled to like Ash. If we all liked the same people, the world would be dull, wouldn't it? Jane Hennessy. So there we go. Cheryl says, I can't stand Owen Jones. He's a whining little boy. I totally agree with you. Saint says, I honestly don't know who is worse, Russell Brand or Owen Jones. There we go. Owen is just a depressed bottom, says Saint. Lots of them out there. Right. Okay. That's a little specific. Mr. Lee Kicker thinks Ash Sarkar is a fantastic woman. Chris says Chavs, I'll come to Chavs, is a fantastic book. Right. Anyway, bless Lady Min in the background. Sorry for the interruption. 2011, he wrote the book called Chavs, The Demonization of the Working Class. This is his seminal work, and he thought that this was a bit of fun. And it's got a picture of a Burberry cap on the cover. One of my very posh friends thought this rather funny when I sent this to them today. I asked the question about what did we think of Owen Jones. So anyway, 2012, he won the Journalist of the Year award at the Stonewall Awards, which is a lesbian, gay, bisexual, whatever, etc. Awards ceremony. So he won that. And 2014, he wrote a book called The Establishment and How They Get Away with It, because he likes to rant. And then in 2019, he wrote The Alternative and How We Built It. He is always angry. He's such an angry person in everything. He was voted in the same year GQ magazine's 9th worst dressed man on the planet. Well, he does dress pretty badly. He looks like a scruff bag. 2020, he wrote This Land, The Struggle for the Left. He's getting angrier and angrier by now. 2020, he didn't leave Labour. He cancelled his Labour Party membership. That's the way he referred to it. He cancelled it. No. You resign your Labour Party membership, you stupid Burke. You do not cancel. You can't cancel. You just say, I quit. You don't. I hate the misuse of the language. There's a great book I've got here by Giles Brandreth. It teaches people, have you eaten grandma, how to use language. Get yourself a copy, Owen Jones, you Burke. You're an absolute Burke. And then he ran the election camp, but he campaigned and joined the campaign for the We Deserve Better group against Keir Starmer in the 2024 election. Well, that got him really far, didn't it? What a clever move. Well done, mate. Well done, mate. Not a very good move. Anyway, I ran a little poll on Twitter. I'm going to try and get it up. Oh dear. I forgot to do this in advance of my program, but anyway, it should be over by now. So hopefully my silly phone will work. Yes, it is working. Where is my poll? I need my poll. Oops. Right. I ran a little poll and I said, how would you describe the left-wing journalist Owen Jones? And I gave three options. The first being a national treasure, second, a national disgrace, or third, haven't the foggiest. So I gave, three options. How do you think the results came in? Who do you think won? A national treasure, a national disgrace, or haven't the foggiest? Who do you think won? Right. Have we any opinions. Meanwhile, I think, whilst I wait for your opinions, I'll have a little bit of whiskey. Right. So, Simon Coates says disgrace. There we go. Thank you, Simon Coates. That's one opinion. Have we any other opinions? Cheryl says a national disgrace. Chris says not the foggiest. Okay. Well, I'll put you out of your misery. Panch H says disgrace. Well, most of you are correct. 64% of respondents to my little poll, a minor poll, and it's, of no great importance, says that Owen Jones is a national disgrace. 18% said he was a national treasure, and 18% said they hadn't the foggiest because they didn't know who he was. Of my personal friends and people I spoke with, because I also sent this out on WhatsApp, people said they can't stand his whining voice. He's a weird one. One said, I don't mind him. He'll say anything to bring in a few pounds. He changes his mind like the wind, but denies that, of course. I think it is a good thing that he helps the people in Palestine, said another. Vile, said another. Sick in the head, said another. Not sure. I used to like him 10 years ago, said another. Another said, he is revolting. He's shameless. He's disgusting. Mixed opinions on Owen Jones. I wasn't expecting that. So, but 64% of the respondents to a quiz, a Twitter poll, say he's a national disgrace. Owen Jones, of course, declined to comment. So there we go. So let's move along from Owen Jones onto our next topic. Right. Okay. Right. Jane Hennessy likes Novara Media. Oh, why do you like Novara Media? Because I can't stand Ash Sarkar and Novara Media. She's like a lefty pest, I have to say. Absolutely woke nonsense. But there we are. Right. Okay. So my next point to you is crack on track. Let's go to crack on track. So lawless London, the Victoria Line crack smoker. I call it crack on track. So on Twitter, my dear friend Peter Blexley, Talk TV, ex-police officer, host of the crime programs, all sorts of crime programs. He said every junkie matters. See it, say it, smoke it. After a tube passenger openly smoked crack cocaine, triggering a shocking TfL response. Just another day in London's transport crime epidemic, says the Daily Mail. Absolutely disgraceful, this episode. Absolutely lawless London. We have to get the city of London back to some kind of civility. This is revolting. You will be shocked beyond belief. This man was high as a kite, according to the person that reported it, occasionally looking around, but not really focusing on anything, with a gormless grin expression on his face. He was phlegming and spitting on the floor near constantly, too. The passenger did not dare, I'm summarizing now myself, the druggie, but reported the incident to TfL, Transport for London. TfL guy responded and said there was basically nothing they could do about him. Apparently, the crack addict was so well known to them that they had complaints about him every 1 to 3 days, that he was so familiar that the workers knew him by his first name, his Christian name. British Transport Police added, whilst the poster states it wasn't reported to the British Transport Police, it was completely unacceptable behaviour. It will not be tolerated. Well, come on, British Transport Police. If he's doing it every 1 to 3 days, man up, grow up, show up, and arrest the bastard. Go and arrest him and stop him poisoning people with the crack cocaine, you stupid people. What is wrong with you? Were you born in a barn? Were you born in a ditch? Were you born in a sewer? You absolutely stupid people. Absolutely useless. Anyway, I say this is the fault of Sadiq Khan. Crime has risen on the underground during Sadiq Khan's reign. 19th of November, 2024. I'll give you an example of one of the worst things that happened. A machete attack at Edgware Road. Two 17-year-olds stabbed somebody. Fortunately, that person lived, but they were attacked with a machete. This is the kind of thing that goes on this London Underground. Would you want to go on this revolting device? No, not with this going on. The first quarter of 2024, which was the last time they have reported on crimes on the Underground, because obviously it takes time to get information now, 70 crimes per day. All sorts of horrible things happen on that thing. The most dangerous stations in 2024 were Poplar, Cockfosters, and King's Cross. They were the three top crime scenes. I say get Sadiq Khan out. Somebody else who I know gave me a kind comment. We need a Mayor Rudy Giuliani zero tolerance policy here, and it is a joke administration. We are sinking faster than the Titanic. It is outrageous that this Sadiq Khan doesn't have any kind of control over crime. He drives round in a £300,000 bulletproof Range Rover. He is protected everywhere he goes. That little rat, that little revolting creep. And the people of London have to go around and risk being attacked with a machete or all manner of lunacy. There was a man who attacked a woman with a belt at Green Park. Oh, there's craziness galore. Khan is spineless, says Panch H. I agree with Panch H. Well said. You're going to say it's like New York subway back in the day. Yes, well said, Linz. Yep, I'm sure it was. I never went on the New York subway when it was that bad, but I have been on the New York subway, and I'd prefer the New York subway to the London Underground, frankly. What's my thoughts on North Sentinel? I don't have any thoughts particularly on that, so I will pass. But please tell me, what are your thoughts, Barry? That's what we'd like to know. Let's have your thoughts on that one. Jane Hennessy loves the custard slice. I don't know what a custard slice has got to do with this. Did I know that alcohol is a drug? Well, yes, of course, alcohol is a drug. It's a terrible thing in many ways, but yes, but it's not as bad as smoking crack cocaine on the London Underground. Right, okay. Yes, I know some of you want to have a go at me, so come on, bring it on if you want to have a go at me, but that's fair enough. Okay, I'll take it. Don't mind a bit of criticism. I like alcohol. So there we are. But that does not make me a crackhead, because I've never taken any other kind of drug in my life. And alcohol is legal, but there we are. So there we are. Right. Who pays his congestion charge to drive around London? Well, of course, the state pays for that. He doesn't pay because he's the mayor of London. It's not his car. He will not own the car. He's driven around in it for his own safety. So, safety. Yep. Okay. Right. So yes. Um. Anyway, I cannot even bring up the topic of a drug addict without being criticised for having a drink in front of me. Okay. Fair enough. Fair pop. I should be sitting here with a cup of tea. I've also got a pint of water. So cheers to you and my pint of water. Um, Here's my bottle of San Pellegrino. And here's my bottle of whiskey, which I'm also having. But there we go. If you wish to criticize me, you can have a pop. But I've got my water too. I drink liters and liters of water a day, actually. I do not lie about that. So, balance is balance. So, anyway, there we go. Right. Anyway, I'm not going to be here talking about me. I'm boring, absolutely dull. I've got plenty of other topics to talk about. Yep, stealing petrol where you live, you couldn't make it up. He's ULEZ exempt. You like the J&B? J&B I've only got because there's not much else of choice here. I either have Famous Grouse or J&B. That's all you can have here. The local whiskey is absolutely revolting, disgusting. It's called something like Watson's or Wilson's or something. It's revolting. It tastes of sugar. It's horrible. Whiskey drinkers would never drink it. Awful. It's like the David Beckham whiskey, the Hague Club. Absolutely vile. His is the worst on the planet. Right. Right. Mr. Lee Kicker couldn't care about the London mayor. Well, there you go. You live in the northwest of England, so fair enough. Right. Okay. Well, any more questions about lawless London and crack on track, or shall we move along? We'll move along to the woke nonsense. Yesterday was International Asexuality Day. Did you know about that? Did you attend International International Asexuality Day to celebrate the people who are of no sexual gender? It was the 6th of April. Switchboard announced this. Whoever Switchboard are, there's something to do with LGBTQ plus XYZ and whatever else goes on beyond that. Be a dragon. My friend, who is on Twitter, whose name I don't know, because he always writes to me, but he doesn't use a name on Twitter. He is a veteran from the first battalion of Coldstream Guards Para. He's from North Yorkshire. He said, soon there will be so many made-up genders and pronouns that each one of the 365 days in a leap year, 366 in a leap year, will be taken up by every gender and or pronoun. How ridiculous, hey? Meanwhile, yesterday, there was a contest for pool in Wigan in Lancashire. It was the Women's Pool Pro Series event in Wigan in Lancashire. Now, Harriet Haynes was versus Lucy Smith. Well, neither Harriet nor Lucy were actually born women. Now, my friend, Tracy Edwards, an amazing lady who was a round-the-world sailor, said, if anyone thinks this is okay, you need help. Matt Letizier, he made a few comments too, but I haven't got those written down. I think this is woke wazzockry at its worst. One of my friends, who was a barman from Broadstairs, said, women can't compete with men. Pathetic. This is ridiculous. A women's event. The man whose show I've just been on, we discussed this. He said, why not have a men's group, a women's group, and a trans group? Why can't the trans people have their own contest? Give them their own contest. You know, we can have a men's contest, we can have a women's contest. Give these trans people a contest if that's what they so want. They don't have to do this. Another friend of mine, who will remain nameless because I don't want to upset her, I don't think what the women's darts final will look like, she added. So, what do you think of that? Do you think that this is correct? Okay. Shall we have a few questions on that topic, please? Okay. Right. Any questions? Mr. Lee Kicker claims he's like a wild animal in bed. Oh, well. I don't think we want to know about what you get up to in bed, Mr. Lee Kicker, because your name says it all. But there we go. If they want to be in their own in contests, they should fund their own. Well, that's what I'm saying. I agree with the person who suggested they should have their own. They should have a trans contest, shouldn't they? I agree with that person. My total agreement is with have your own trans contest. Of course, J.K. Rowling has been criticised for daring to criticise all of this. You know, in Broadstairs, there was this mad woman I met who thought she was a dragon, and I dared to question whether dragons, what kind of sexuality a dragon was, and she claimed dragons were mythical, so they could be anything. I did have to give in to her because she did make a good point, because dragons are mythical, they don't exist. So a dragon could be a male or a female, couldn't it? But how do they breed all these things? There we go. Anyway, that's a different matter for a different day. But what the F is going on with this world? It's gone mad. One flew over the cuckoo's nest. It's crazy mad. Yes, I agree with you, Cheryl Betts. Totally agree with Cheryl Betts. You are bang on the nail. I think this is absolutely nuts. Let them have their own contest, but we should not have in the ultimate women's pro series event in Wigan, UK, two men competing against one another. They were born men. They're not women at all. They're trans. So why don't they have their own trans contest? You know, it's not fair to the other women who've competed to get to that stage, is it? Other women would have competed to get into this contest. And they've been wiped out by these two people who are not actually women. I'm sorry, I agree with Donald Trump. There are two sexes. I totally agree. I will be now condemned. I'll be criticized. But I'm sorry, there are men and there are women. And there are other people. When you want to be something else, you can be a cat if you want to be a cat, or you can be a book. You can be a litter tray or a table, or you can be a newspaper. You can be a rose, or you can be a chair. You can be whatever you want to be. Let me say this. I don't give a bloody two hoots about what you want to be. If you want to be something, you claim your beard, but don't ram it down other people's throats. And in the case of these two, this is too much, because the other ladies that participated, real women who participated in the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series contest, Women's Pro Series, women, they were women. And these two have managed to take over the whole thing. They were men originally. So that's not correct. Absolutely wrong. I don't care what anyone says. I don't think it's correct. What do you say, Lady Min in the background? Well, we're not.
Everybody's entitled to their own sexuality. Whatever they want to do.
Not absolutely not listening to the question, but there we go. No point asking. Right. Anyway, sorry about that. Well, no, we cannot have contests where we have people who are not of the right gender in the contest. Absolutely wrong. Totally wrong. Yes. Lynn says, I'd like to know what the other competitors think about it. I totally agree with you, Lynn. I think the other competitors have a right to have a refund for anything they paid, because why should two men be the finalists? They call themselves trans women, but they are men originally. So completely wrong. Anyway, there we are. Right. Anyway. Okay. So my at this point, any questions about that particular topic? The swimmers, yes. Well, the swimmers were awful as well. Absolutely appalling. Absolutely. I think this is an absolute disgrace. You cannot go around changing your gender and then thinking that you're on the same level playing field as other people. You know, this Bruce Jenner, who became whatever its name is, there's another fine example. Look, be whoever you want to be, but don't ram it down other people's throats. It's too much. And these two men competing in a women's competition, it's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. And I agree with Matt Letizia and Tracy Edwards. Tracy Edwards, if anyone thinks this is okay, you need help. She is right. I stand with Tracy Edwards and Matt Letizia. Matt Letizia and Tracy Edwards, absolutely spot on. This is no longer acceptable. I stand with Donald Trump on this one. I don't normally agree with Donald Trump on very much, but a man is a man and a woman is a woman. Let's be honest. This is a load of rubbish. It's an absolute load of old horse shit. I've heard enough of it. And, you know, Harriet versus Lucy is not Harriet versus Lucy. It may as well be Harriet versus Luke, frankly, whoever they are. And, you know, look, they can be whoever they want to be in private, but seriously, they're taking away the opportunity for women. Go and have a trans competition, you stupid pair, because that's what you are. You're trans people because you don't want to be Harry or Luke. You want to be Harriet and Lucy, don't you? So go and have your own competition elsewhere. Please take away this nonsense from all our world, because it's a load of rubbish. It's absolutely vile. I don't like it. I'm like J.K. Rowling. I will be attacked. I know I'm going to be attacked for saying this. I don't care. But I'm not scared of anybody. Look, I took on Brexit. I didn't like that. I take on anything I don't like. I'm not scared of standing up for what is right and wrong in this world, because everybody else is, you know, lots of people are very cowardly and don't speak. Now, there's lots of wonderful people like you lot who come on here and you give your opinions. Fabulous. I like to hear them. But I don't always have to agree with them, and you don't have to agree with me. But I will say that Harriet and Lucy are not women. So they should not be having to be in the final of the Ultimate Pool Women's Pro Series event in Wigan, UK, because there were plenty of other women who got to that the stages of the final, they deserve a right to be in the final. These two should have been in what was called the ultimate pool women's pool
They were women.
pool trans series final. They're not women, they're trans. They were men who became women.
Yeah.
They don't need to be in the final. She doesn't understand. Don't worry about her views because
Say hello to Tracy for me.
she wants to say hello to Tracy, but Tracy isn't here. Tracy is not in the room, but we love Tracy. Tracy was a fabulous lady who sailed around the world. Tracy's a great friend, absolutely great friend of Liz Brewer. That's how I met her, and Heather Bird, and I met her at Heather Bird's home. Absolutely lovely lady, Tracy. But anyway, I think the Lady Min here has got a bit confused about what these people were. At the beginning, these people were men, and then they transitioned to be women, and then they've been both put into the contest of the final of a women's contest, and are not really women, they are trans. So they are men who became women. And so the women didn't get a chance. I don't think you understand the concept.
Not really, no.
No, she doesn't understand. So let's keep her out of it because she's ranting and raving. Let's be honest. Let's move on. Sorry. Right. Anyway. Right. Look, I have no problem with people being transgender. Okay. TMTB. Look, you can be whatever you want to be. Look, if you want to be a cat, be a cat. I don't mind whatever anyone wants to be. I have lots of friends who are gay, bi, transsexual, whatever. Um, I know someone who dresses up as, all sorts of strange things. But look, in a sporting contest, you have to have fairness. You can't have a man versus a woman because it's not fair. And in this particular contest, it's ended up with two trans people versus each other. Well, that's taken away the rights of actually the women to compete because the two that actually end up in the final are not actually real women. They're trans. They are transitional men who became women. So they're not really the same as the rest of the women who participated in the competition. It is not correct. Sorry, not prepared to agree. There we are. But there we are. About any of that. Who should clear up the rubbish in Birmingham? Well, the taxpayer has to pay somehow. The council must pay for it. The council must deal with it. Angela Raver can blame the Tories, but she's in government now, so get on with it, Angela. Let's send round Angela and get her out with her marigolds. Let's send in Angela Rayner with a pair of marigolds. Let's have her deal with all the rats. Let's give her Lady Min's being generous. Give her a shovel. I was only going to give her a pair of marigolds. I'd say let her pick it all up. I think Angela Rayner should be sent litter picking. I think that's what we need to do. Let's give Angela the task. Absolutely awful. Hey Tiggers wants to know if there's going to be a quiz. Yes, you're getting a quiz. You can have a quiz with pleasure, of course. Right, I'll give you a quiz. I've got loads of quizzes lined up for you. I've written loads of them now. I've got an entire file that I'm going to be doing a book, hopefully. So anyway, then you can do your quiz with your own family and friends. And well, I don't know. You might not really like my questions; they're a bit weird, but we'll see. We'll see if the book is popular or not. If anyone buys a copy, probably nobody will. But anyway, we give it a go. So Stevie D will help with the quiz. Thank you. Well, we're not ready for a quiz yet, but yes. So we've dealt with the issue of the horrible situation at this event. Um, do you want me to talk about Russell Brand or not? Yes. Well, I think we will talk about Russell Brand, of course, because um, I have written a lot about it in my notes. So obviously, a lot of it was discussed on the Ron Swanson show. So some of you've heard it already, but um, Russell Brand. My personal view on Russell Brand is that he is a two-faced loudmouth. He flits from side to side of the fence. This is a man who goes to theatre premieres and limousines with Jemima Khan, and then the next minute he's at the anonymous protest or with homeless people. But he turned up there with him in a Mercedes-driven chauffeur. He's a hypocrite who loves luxury yet claims he's campaigning against it. TMTB asks, have you heard the accusers' names? No. Their names will be kept under, they will be anonymous. They don't have to be named as in these kind of cases. That's just how it is. This man, Russell Brand, has a history. It's a very unpleasant thing, isn't it? My personal views on Russell Brand are obviously clear. I don't like him. I don't know him, though. I will say that. I will say also, as I said on Ron Swanson's program, Russell Brand remains innocent until proven guilty. But Russell Brand has a huge history, and it's a deeply, horribly unpleasant history. So I'll give you a bit of it. Lady Min here is going to get bored because it's the same thing I had to say on my other program, because obviously I'm going to read out the same things. So basically, before 2023, there were many allegations also about Russell Brand. Before we come to the 6th of February 2025, he was sued for sexual abuse at the High Court of Justice in London. I didn't discuss this on the Ron Swanson show. The 4th of April 2025, he was charged by the Metropolitan Police with 1 count of rape, 1 count of oral rape, and 2 counts of sexual assault. They occurred in Westminster and Bournemouth between 1999 and 2005. His response is, I'm now going to have the opportunity to defend these charges in court, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. This lunatic is completely off his rocker, but there we go. The pre-2023 allegations I'll now give you. Danny Minogue claimed she was sexually harassed by him in a 2006 interview. A bit of a vile predator, she said. I certainly didn't think he'd cured his sex addiction. Wouldn't take no for an answer. Throughout the whole interview, he kept making shocking remarks that I can't even repeat. In 2006, also, Vanessa Feltz said he wanted to have it off with me or my daughter. She was deeply offended. 2007, he rang up Jimmy Savile and promised to bring his attractive assistant, who Savile would prefer to wear nothing. That was on BBC Radio 2. They allowed that on air. What's wrong with these people? What is wrong with the BBC doing that? Are they mad? Same year, 2007, he branded Lorraine Kelly a slut, and he touched her thigh. And we love Lorraine Kelly. She's one of the best. We love the Gorbals gobbledygook better than anything else. Great lady. Last saw her at the premiere of Mamma Mia, and sat next to someone who couldn't understand a word she was saying, and they found it very amusing. Um, she's a wonderful, jolly lady who would never say anything bad against anybody without a good reason, because she's a kind-hearted lady, and I know she's decent. Vanessa Feltz, I would not say much pleasant about, but it doesn't mean that he didn't do something bad to her. 2006 to 2008, 5 complaints of sexual misconduct and unprofessional workplace behavior. 2014, Jordan Martin made allegations. She was his girlfriend for a little while, don't know how long. Assault at the Lowry Hotel in Salford, Manchester. I know the hotel well. Sexual assault, physical and emotional abuse, etc., etc., etc. We don't need to go on with the rest of the nonsense because enough is enough. This is a man who, well, I wouldn't call him a man, I'd call him a menace. I did call him a mouse earlier, but I think a menace is a kinder word for him. A truer word, I should say, not kinder, because I'm not being kind. Why would I be kind? This moment I shall have another whiskey. Why not? I can top myself up. Right. Anyway, this Russell Brand, had a dog. He had this disgusting dog. It was called Bear. I don't know if Bear is still alive, but Bear he had in 2020. It mauled a wallaby to death with its baby Joey in its pouch. Can you imagine? This man let his dog do this. The Sun newspaper claimed he was a hero because he made sure the dog didn't kill the baby. Well, it did kill the mother. What a cruel, horrible man. This dog should have been taken away. You know, if a dog, I didn't get much chance to talk about this on this other program. If a dog kills, if it gets blood, the dog will kill again because it senses the blood. And this revolting dog, he then puts up pictures, and I didn't talk about this on this other program. The dog, a picture with a lamb and with some kittens. This man is weird. He's a weirdo. He's a freak. Absolutely awful. Not a nice man. Right. Right. You're all having discussions of your own in the sidelines, so that's very nice. Anyway, no, the dog killing wallaby was appalling. But another time he did something bad was the time he insulted Andrew Sachs, who was an elderly actor, by sharing messages he'd left for him about his granddaughter. This was a very elderly man, and his granddaughter had had a relationship with the dreaded Russell Brand. Why would anyone have a relationship with this freak? He's disgusting. He's like some Dickensian disgusting character. Her name was Georgina Bailey, and it was a pre-recorded show with Jonathan Ross, another piece of toe rag. There were many complaints. The BBC were fined 150,000 for airing the calls in October 2008, and in November 2008, the BBC Trust said the phone calls were a deplorable intrusion with no editorial justification. Yet, again in 2010, Russell Brand is back on the BBC 2 years later with Jonathan Ross. Does the BBC have no moral compass? Nat Man Prime says Ross is a spiv. I say I raise my glass to that. Jonathan Ross is a weirdo. He's awful. I don't even find him funny. I don't like his show. I've never liked him. He's like another creepy person. Now, I'm not suggesting he's a Jimmy Savile or anything, but he's just an unpleasant man. He's just a revolting person. Don't like him. Um, Mr. Lee Kicker goes, if he's found guilty, will he even go to prison? If he's found guilty, I would imagine he would be sent to prison because his rape is a rather serious crime. TMTB says, you're right. He's a very Dickensian-like character, well put. Yes, he looks like something like an old rake that was dragged out of the gutter, doesn't he? And, he's deplorable. There's something very revolting about this man. Jane Kelly says, I agree. Jonathan Ross is very creepy. A bit creepy, you say. A bit. I say very creepy. Right. Okay. I would like to say, why has he been enabled for all these years? Friends like Noel Gallagher. Noel Gallagher always turns up. Jonathan Ross, Harper Collins, James Corden, that mate of Prince Harry, the drip. He had the Bookie Wookie, Russell Brand's Trickster Tales, the Pied Piper of Hamlin. A bit sick, I would say. Lucy Mangan from The Guardian said, the on-brand needed to be noticed. Is there on every page his unwillingness to get out of the way of the story, tripping the reader up at every turn? Then he had his magic amulet against Wi-Fi. It was all considered fake scientific, a load of rubbish. He is a two-faced loudmouth. He flits from one side of the fence to the other. The man is awful. He had this pub. He closed it down. He lives in this little thatched cottage that was in 2 episodes of the sequel to Inspector Morse, Lewis. But he closed the pub down. He destroyed a community asset. Lovely guy, isn't he? There's so many bad things he did, but absolutely awful. He's Hare Krishna, 2007, baptized by Bear Grylls, Christianity, 2024, Christian spirituality. He's been married, Hindu ceremony with Katy Perry, 2010, dated Jerry Halliwell, dated Jemima Khan, 2013 to 2014. Relationship with this woman, Laura Gallagher, former restaurateur, not restaurateur. First dated when 2017 when she was 19. He was 30, and then he married her in 2017. He seems to trip around, doesn't he? He gets around the village. He's a bit like the village bike, this little old Dickensian rake. Why did he close the pub? Because he wanted to turn it into a recording and yoga studio, and he's a vegan. So he didn't want a restaurant, did he? Because he didn't want the meat eaters. He's very anti all of that. He's a complete freak. The man is a complete pest. Look, I don't mind vegans. My mother is very much into. My mother's very, very plant-based because she likes that kind of thing. I don't agree with it myself, but sometimes she'll eat a bit of fish, but that's it. But everyone to their own. But he rams it down everyone's throats. He ruined a community asset. Shame on the little rat. He was charged with battery in LA in 2010. He attacked a paparazzo in 2012. He had the regular drug use problem that he admits to as a sex addiction. He admits to he is he was sued recently today allegedly for sexual assault over an incident on the Alpha movie set in 2011. Warner Brothers have handed over the outtakes as part of a case in New York, according to the Times. 4 to 8 hours of film to sift through. TMZ report that. The law has become a weapon, he says, to use against people. This is his response, who highlight corruption. The Southport murders and Keir Starmer, he whinges in Wales. I was a fool before I lived in the light of the Lord, because, now he's been baptized. Oh, yeah, found God. I want to thank all of you for your continued support. Stay free and praise the Lord. That's how he concludes. He is ridiculous. This man is not a man. He is a deranged deviant, and it is jolly well time that this modern day equivalent of his little friend, who he used to ring up, Jimmy Savile, because he's not a nice look. He is an innocent man of these crimes, but he is definitely a deviant. He's revolting. It's time that we got rid of this man from our agenda. Like we got rid of these Tate brothers. They all find religion. The Tate brothers today have been in a mosque. Yes. Andrew Tate has been sitting in a mosque. How predictable. Yes. These people who behave very nastily and don't do the right thing in life, it's very convenient for them to find what they want, isn't it? Absolutely sickening what they do. I don't like it, and I will not defend it, and I will call it out forevermore. So there we go. Right. So there we are. I think that's enough about Andrew Tate and stupid Russell Brand. But the story is far from over, and I'll be talking a lot more about it in the future because, quite frankly, I think these people are a very bad influence on young men. And it is totally wrong that young people are being brought up with a culture that allows that these people can influence them, that they can guide their path to their future. And there are so many parents out there who are so concerned about their children, especially young boys. It is wrong. You cannot have these revolting people being the path to your child's future. So keep your children well away from these wicked, evil people. These two men are two examples. There are many, many, many more who will equally guide people down the wrong path. And look, there isn't a right path in life ever, but we all have to go on our own path. But keep well away from people like that because they are dangerous, they are deviant, and they're destructive. And they are wrong, and they are wicked, and they are wastrels. So keep well away from such people. My advice to you is please, please don't be influenced or allow people to be influenced by such a situation. It's an absolutely shocking state of affairs. So, no. Anyway, next question before we move on to our quiz. Any questions? Let's have a couple of questions and we'll move on to our quiz. So, there we go. Right. Oh, Stevie D needs to go to bed. You're up at 4 a.m. Okay. Well, good night to Stevie D. Okay. Take care, Stevie D.
Good night.
Even Lady Min says good night to you, Stevie D. He's got to be up at 4 a.m. It's only 8:30 here in London, but I don't know what time. It's 9:30 here in France, but it's not that late here. But I don't know where she's going, but there we go.
Have a break before the quiz for 5 minutes.
Well, I can't have a break. No,
You can't.
no, I can't have a break.
I've got to go to the bathroom.
Oh, right. She needs to go to the bathroom, so I cannot stop my program. But you have to hold on to there.
I've got the chair here. It's fine, right?
Right. Anyway, so she's going off to visit. We won't need to have a discussion any further.
Sorry, but I have to go.
I have to keep going with my program. I cannot.
I'll make as little noise as possible.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Anyway, there we are. So, she's doing very well with her behavior and her situation, and is plugging along. So it's a good thing. Right. Greetings from Mozambique. Well, greetings to you in Mozambique. Right. Hello. Well, anyway, lots more of you coming in, and Jane is going to take over the quiz. Okay. Thank you, Jane. Right. Okay. Well, I can do a bit of the quiz taking notes myself. And anyway, right. Meanwhile, have we any more questions whilst we await the return of a certain someone before we start our quiz? So, there we go. Anyone, anyone with a question? Any questions? Anyone? It's that's the name of a BBC Radio 4 show. Yes, a lovely Radio 4 show that I quite like. Right. So, right. Now, also, I've got some other points for all of you. Every year in the Steeple Times, we prepare a list. I've just started doing it. I know it's only April, but we give a list of the best animals of the year, dead or alive. You know, the animals that have been great. Like, for example, Nick Rocket, the horse that won the Grand National. The best people of 2025, which I won't give you any examples of yet. The worst people of 2025, well, there's plenty of those. You know, people who haven't been on our list before, but they're new, but there's plenty of options already. The missed people of 2025, like the people who died, like so far, Eddie Jordan, Stanley Carms, who was Dixon's, and Betty Webb, who was Bletchley Park. The not missed people, who are mostly like serial killers and people who've been, given in the electric chair. Most people don't really submit those. And we have our as awful as ever list of 2025. The national disgraces, the people like Katie Price, Richard Madeley, Michael Barrymore, Stephen Fry, Boris Johnson, and the as wonderful as ever like King Charles, Giles Brandreth, Neil and Christine Hamilton. So we'd love you to submit your nominations. So can we have some nominations from you? Editorial at thesteepletimes.com. We'd love nominations for the categories that are the animals of 2025. If you've thought of an animal that you know of that's done a wonderful thing in 2025, let's have those. Let's have the best people of 2025, the most wonderful people that have done something special. It doesn't have to be someone famous. It could be someone who's just done something in the local community. The worst people of 2025, equally, it doesn't have to be the most famous. It could be, it doesn't have to be Hannah Ingram Moore or Helen Pitcher or Virginia Roberts. The mist of 2025. People who've died, wonderful people who've died. Let's have some nominations from our readers and viewers. It would be wonderful to have your nominations. And then we want the not missed. Well, if you have anyone in mind who was really bad, who died, please send them in. And then we want, I want your as awful as ever of 2025. I'd like those. I would like those also. The national disgraces. And then I'd like your as wonderful as ever of 2025. I'd like those. I'd like your national treasures. Anyone who you think is absolutely wonderful, like Anne Robinson, Peter Blexley, Princess Anne, Susie Dent, those kind of people. But equally, it could be a member of your community. I'd like a nomination. I need some nominations. So let's have those, but I need them on editorial at thesteepletimes.com. I can't take notes from this here. So anyway, right. Okay. Right. Mr. Lee Kicker thinks you should be on the National Treasure list. Right. Okay. Anyway, I have to say, right. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Yes. So I'd like your nominations for my list. We're only at the beginning of the year. We've got plenty of time to do this list. And I do it every year. So the animals of 2025, wonderful animals. The best people of 2025, whatever they've achieved, achievers. But they've got to be people who have achieved in 2025. It can't be people who've achieved in 2024 or 2023. The worst, again, at the moment, we've got the horrible Sarjit Sinclair, the horrible man who, the fake Madeline promoter who was very rude to me. He's definitely on my list. The Bonnie Blue, the sex mad woman who had 1,000 men sleep with her in an afternoon. People like that. Awful people who've done terrible things. The missed people of the year, like Eddie Jordan, who died earlier this year. He'll be missed by so many of us. Fabulous man. The not missed, well, that's going to be all the serial killers and the electric chair people. That's how it works. The as awful as ever, well, they're the people who I can't put on the list because of the worst of the year, because they're just awful every year. Katie Price, Richard Madeley, Judy Finnegan, Prince Harry and Meghan, easy peasy. They're very easy targets. And then the as wonderful as ever's, the Neil and Christine Hamilton and Reverend Richard Coles and Susie Dent and Anne Robinson's. Fabulous. So we need your nominations. Editorial at thesteepletimes.com. We thank you for your nominations. That's very kind of you. Absolutely wonderful of you, and we thank you. There we go. Well, Jill Dando can't be on the list because Jill Dando died many years ago. So no. That's very kind of you. But anyway, if you want to nominate someone, you need to send your nomination to the email address. The good list is hard. The awful list is too easy. Well said, Nat. Yes, Nat Man Brime. Oh, I find it very easy to deal with the awful bit. It's the good bit is the hard bit, of course. Simon nominates his cockerel Bruce. He gave up his life to the fox to save the hens. Last month he was eaten. Well, I'm very sorry to hear of the death of the cockerel Bruce. Cheers to Cockerel Bruce. The memory of Cockerel Bruce. There we are. God bless Bruce. I'm a national treasure. I don't think I am, but um, right. Um, so anyway, please send your nominations. Can I nominate the woman who shouted at my autistic son in a car park today for the worst, Lauren? Please do. Please send a nomination for if you've got a picture of her. Please send a picture because if we have a picture, we'll publish it. We'll have a pop at her if she attacked your autistic son. How very dare she? That's not very nice, is it? And you're a lovely supporter of ours. We will not be having people attack your autistic son. That is very cruel and very heartless. I don't like people who pick on people. We always call out the bully. Let's name and shame her. I love a name and shame. I do that often. Me and Peter Blacksley, we do not tolerate nastiness. We don't tolerate nastiness, do we, Lady Min?
Sometimes.
What do you mean sometimes? What a stupid comment. She just really is not speaking sense. Um, we do not tolerate bullying of people. That's absolutely appalling. If someone bullies an autistic child, that is disgusting. Shame on anyone who bullies an autistic child. Um, I will do a name and shame for you if you want. Get me a picture of this creep, and I will name and shame. We can do it on Twitter. I've got 30 odd thousand followers across my various. Don't like bullying. Nope. He's only 3 years old and he's been attacked by a horrible person. So shame on you, men. That's wrong.
Me?
Yes, because you said it's not you thought it was acceptable.
No, you said to me, do I tolerate nastiness? Well, sometimes
No,
nastiness, you have to make a comment.
no, this is about bullying of an autistic child.
Well, I didn't know that.
Absolutely awful.
Shocking.
She's now agreeing. She misheard. I do apologize. She claims she's misheard. There we are.
I'm half asleep.
She's half asleep, she claims. Anyway, never mind. There's no point having. There's no. Let's leave her out of it. There's no point asking her about it because she doesn't understand. Right. Anyway, yes, I'm very sorry about your child, your 3-year-old child, being abused in a car park by a horrible person. Um, Absolutely disgraceful. Send me a photograph. We'll do a name and shame. I can do it on my Twitter. I can do it on all sorts of things. Oh, yes, we'll find out who this person is and we'll find them. Don't you worry. We'll cause them havoc because that's what I do. I don't tolerate bullying. Look, when Gina Miller and I had our problems over Brexit, the Viscount St. David's went to jail. That ratbag who had a dog called Hitler, the vile, evil man, we sent him to jail. So um, don't take me on. I'm not a nice person to take on. Bullies do not win against me because evil should never prevail. And how dare someone shout at your autistic son in a car park? And that's what I said. Now she's saying it's disgusting.
Hear the question before.
She didn't hear it. Okay.
Wasn't here, was in the bathroom.
She wasn't in the bathroom. You were sitting here. But anyway, doesn't matter. She didn't hear it correctly. She couldn't hear.
Anybody that abuses children, I'm totally against.
Anyway, enough from you. Enough. Let's move on. Right. Lauren, I'm very sorry for your situation. Absolutely appalling. Let's move on to our quiz. I think we need to move on to something a little more positive now. Cult television is coming in. Hello to cult television. Right. Anyway, we're going to move along to something a little more positive because Lauren's story is very, very sad, and it's absolutely awful that anyone would dare shout at your child in a car park. How dare they? And we want a picture, and we will publish it if you want to do that. But maybe you don't want to do that. That's up to you. The choice is yours. So we give you the option and could do it. It's a long program tonight. Not really. Last night was 3 hours. We're not even at 2 hours. Anyway, I needed a little top up because I have to keep going. I've got to do this quiz. And Mr. Cult Television is here, my dear friend from Canada. Hello, Cult Television. So, Cult Television, are you coming in? Hello. That's all I can do. So, right. Get a picture of the car registration and email. Yep, like the wife of the former wife of Michael Gove did. We will publish the registration plate. We'll do a name and shame. Come on, if you want me to do it, I'll do it. Ready to do it. I'm very happy to help you but you have to send me an email, editorial@thesteepletimes.com, because I can't do it on here because I can't really look back at all this stuff. It's very hard. I don't know how you look back at it. I don't understand the technology. I don't have my tech person here because I'm in France, so I have utterly no idea how to look backwards at this chat. The chat is very difficult to look at after the program. Anyway, there we are. And good day to my wonderful friend James, Cult Television. Hello, Cult Television. Good evening to you in Canada. Right, it's time for a quiz. It's time for a bit of jolliness. Let's razzle dazzle it up. Okay. Right, question number one, and I don't know if I've got anyone to help me. Have I anyone to help me with this quiz, or am I doing it by myself? Have I anyone to help me with this quiz? Because it's easier if I have someone to help me. I don't need my headphones anymore because I didn't need them in the first place. Lauren will take the score. Okay, well, I'll do it as well. But Lauren, I will rely on Lauren. Thank you, Lauren, the wonderful Lauren. Tonight you will be Debbie McGee. You will be my assistant. Thank you to Lauren. So cheers to Lauren. Come on, Lady Min. Cheers to Lauren.
Lauren.
Yes, we've got to raise a glass to... She says, Lauren, I hope you can cope. Right, Lauren. So off we go. First question. Question one. As of 2025, what is the position of my friend, the esteemed journalist Richard Kay at the Daily Mail? What is the position of him? He was previously a diarist and he had royal associations with Diana. He is not editor. No. He's not chief editor. He's not head editor. No. And Lady Min has met him. What is his position? He's a lovely man and he's a very talented journalist. He exposes many a story. He's not a page-free photographer. He's not a CEO. Nope. He's not the royal correspondent. He's not Homeland Affairs. He's not the brew guy. No. Oh, I don't think you're very good at this one. He's not the owner. No. Richard is definitely not the owner. He's not the quiz writer. I'm sure he'd be furious if he knew I was asking him a question. He's not the paper boy. No. He's not the horse racing reporter. He's not the crime editor. He's not head of media. I've given you a few clues. He's not head of media. No. He's not the agony aunt. He's not the editor in charge, but you're nearly there. You're closer, Chris, than anyone else yet. He's not the crossword compiler. He's not the political correspondent. He's not the cartoonist. God, you're going through every profession in the bloody paper. We could create a library here. Wise Angel gets it. Wise Angel. Wise Angel gets it. The correct answer is, of course, editor at large. Anyway, Richard is a fabulous friend of mine, absolutely fantastic person. I have lunch with him at PJ's from time to time. I love PJ's. I'm going to give PJ's a big up because they are all missing me. Everybody at PJ's, my friend Sean, my friend Mr. Tilly, my friend Peter, and the lovely Rex, and everybody else that I spend time with at PJ's. And Lady Min loves PJ's. We love Awana. Awana, the lady who runs PJ's. She's simply the kindest, isn't she?
Yeah.
She loves Awana too. So there we go. We love our PJs and we miss the owner, the late owner. He was a great friend. Um, the first person who um, became chairman of the Guards Polo Club who was Jewish, simply because all these horrible, mean members didn't want him to be a member because he was a Jew. And Prince Philip rightly said, I rather liked the hamburger flogging Jew. So he became chairman. So cheers to the late Brian Stein, the wonderful owner. Absolutely wonderful man. So there we go. So, Wise Angel, you did very well. First question. Right. Anyway, we didn't mean to go on for about the first question for so long. But anyway, Richard Kay, an absolutely fabulous man. Wonderful, wonderful person. And you see, my quizzes are a little bit personal, but I'm not going to change them. And when I write my quiz book, I'm not changing them for anyone because they're my quizzes. So it's up to me. But there are lots of questions that are very, very easy. Approximately how many boozers or pubs are there in the UK as of 2025? How many pubs are there in the UK? There are not 800, there are not 20,000, there are not 10,000, there are not 125,000, not 36,000. But you are close, Simon Coates. There are not 2 million. Nope. I will give it to Simon Coates at 36,000 because you are close. There are 39,000. 34 pubs close per week. This is a disgrace. Shame on you, Keir Starmer. Do something about this, Keir Starmer. Pubs are community assets. We need our pubs. We love our Magnet. Yes?
Yes.
We love the Magnet. It's a wonderful pub in Broadstairs that's the heart of the community. We need places like the Magnet where we can go because it's the heart of our lives. At the end of World War II, there were 100,000 pubs in Britain. So 60,000 pubs have disappeared. And at the moment, 34 are closing per week. So soon we won't have any pubs. Tesco is stealing every bit of their business because, buying a pack of beer, I've got a pack of beer sitting here. I bought it for the gardener because I give it to him every morning. He gets 3 bottles a day because he loves boozing. He used to like coming around for a Yorkshire tea, but he'd rather have a beer. It's a different story, but it's so cheap to buy beer in a supermarket. So nobody goes to the pub because they'd rather just drink in their garden. Well, if the weather's good, they won't go to the pub. So we must save our pubs. And I am a big supporter of Save Our Farmers. I was on the Star Mahama farmer protest in November when I was in England. And I want to be on the next one, wherever it is, because that man is taking away everything from our country. I never imagined that we could have a Labour Prime Minister so evil and vile that would take away our liberties and everything that's fun. And then we've got Raving Rainer and Rachel Reeves, Queen of Thieves. Disgusting. Anyway, right, next question. Anyway, well done to Simon Coates for getting the point. Right. As of 2025, how many Michelin stars? Now, this is a bit more of one of my kind of questions. Does Gary Yin's King's Joy, a restaurant in Beijing, have? I've never been there, but I'd like to go. Simon Coates gets a second point. It's course 3. He's also got a green star. So there we go. I'd love to go there. I've read a lot about Gary Ying's restaurant, King's Joy. I'd love to go there. I've watched a lot of programs about Chinese and restaurants. I love Chinese food, and I'm missing Chinese food right now. I've been here 72 days. I haven't had any Indian food or Chinese, and I really miss both because I love spice. I really miss it. The horrible local Thai restaurant, I was warned against it, put it that way. It's a bit like Janet's Bar, but everything's like put in a microwave. What do you say about it? The Thai boat?
Terrible.
She says it's terrible. So we won't be going there. The food poisoning restaurant. We won't be going back there ever again. Ever. No. They literally are. They actually once gave us wine that was vacuum packed. They put it into a thing and sealed it. It was so weird. I've never come across anything so weird as that place. Right. Okay, next question. I'm not going to interrupt the questions anymore with interruptions. Okay. Which actor played Peter Pettigrew in all 5 Harry Potter films? Which actor played Peter Pettigrew in all 5 Harry Potter films? A lovely actor. And I watched him the other day in a wonderful film. It wasn't Paws and Claws. Well done. Paws and Claws and whatever you're called, or you win. It's Timothy Spall, of course. I loved him in that film I watched the other day. I can't remember the name of the film. That film cheered me up the other evening when I couldn't sleep, when I was so depressed. It was a fabulous film. And I'll have to make Lady Min watch it by herself because I can't watch it again. But anyway. Okay, right. I'm going to give you a question with 2 options. And my family have a lot of connections with this thing. There are 2 options. So whichever option, whoever gives the option first, I will accept either option because there are 2 nicknames. What is the nickname given to the fans of Blackpool Football Club? First option. It's not the mini cheddars. Daniel Wildgoose, you can have it with the Seasiders. Daniel Wildgoose gets it with the Seasiders. The Seasiders is one option. Of course, there's the Tangerines. Of course, I grew up knowing Owen Oyston and all the troubles at Blackpool, and that's how I met the Maxwells and he owned Miss World and radio stations, and he went to prison, and he owned Miss World, and oh god, it was all very, very strange. But they were neighbours of ours, and yeah, that's how I got to know about Blackpool Football Club. But no, I'm not into football. But anyway, it was the Seasiders or the Tangerines. You had 2 options. They have 2 nicknames, the Blackpool Football Club supporters. Okay, who was the star of the 1955 film The Ship That Died of Shame? Who was the star of the film? An amazing film. I loved the film. A great film, a nice black and white, good old film. It wasn't Noel Coward. It wasn't Charlton Heston. It wasn't Sean Gable. No. No, you're not very good at this one. I'm very surprised at you. Anyway, try harder. It wasn't David Tomlinson. It wasn't Betty Davis. It's a man. I'll give you a clue. It wasn't John Wayne. It wasn't Joan Crawford. No, because Joan Crawford is not a man. No. But it wasn't Errol Flynn. No. It wasn't John Hurt, Terry Thomas. No. It wasn't Clark Gable. Oh dear. The Ship That Died of Shame. Who was the star? No. Right. Well, Richard Attenborough was the answer, so nobody gets the point. There we are. Oh, no. Paws, Claws, and Jaws. You got it just in time. I'll give the point to you. So Paws, Claws, and Jaws, you're in joint second. I'll give you the point. I'll allow you a point because you got there just in time. Okay. What is question number 7? What is Dan Neidl considered to be an expert in? Dan Neidl. What is he considered to be an expert in? Dan Neidl. It's not rugby. It's not antiques. It's not comic books. It's not beekeeping. It's not astrology. Oh dear. It's not wine. It's not TV. Dan Neidl. It's not film. Simon Coates. Right. Simon Coates now goes into Leeds. It's tax. It's taxation. He's an expert in taxation. I would have accepted finance. It's not horse trading. No. Anyway, he's a tax expert. He always commentates on tax. So that's why I gave that question. See, my questions are not designed to trick you. They are questions about people who talk about things in your everyday life, but you just don't know about them. Okay. In which year did the action thriller film Killer Elite, starring Jason Statham, Clive Owen, and Robert De Niro, premiere? Right. Immediate answer is no. Right. Ruth Froggatt gets it. Ruth Froggatt, well done, Ruth. Ruth Froggatt, a new entry. Mrs. Froggatt, you are getting it with 2011. Well done. It's got a rating of 15. Anyway, never mind. Which Marmite-like comedian was the host of the 1970s TV variety show The Wheel Tappers and Shunter's Social Club? Daniel Wildgoose gets a second point with Bernard Manning. Of course, the club's chairman was Colin Crompton. Also appearing was Paul Daniels, you know, him of Debbie McGee. Ooh, we love a bit of Debbie McGee. And Lonnie Donegan, Roy Orbison, and the 3 Degrees. There we go. Strange question. Okay. What is the British firm Stannah associated with? Stannah. What are they associated with? Daniel gets the point immediately. It is stairlift. So Daniel is now in joint second. Well done to Daniel. Which vehicle manufacturer closed its van plant in Luton in March 2025, which with 1,100 jobs lost? It wasn't Ford, no. It wasn't Rover. Steve R gets it. Steve R, a new entrant. Steve R. It is, of course, Vauxhall. Vauxhall destroyed 1,000 jobs. Well, thank you, Donald Trump. Hey, lovely. Not a great thing for the future. What sport is Jake Wardle associated with? Jake Wardle. What sport is Jake Wardle involved with? It's not football. It's not spitting. Daniel gets a fourth point, which takes Daniel into the lead. Daniel Wild Goose gets the point. Of course, it's rugby league. I would have accepted rugby. And you did say rugby, so I've let you away with it. What do Americans term a solicitor? What do Americans term a solicitor? What do they call a solicitor? Joyce Grove, a new entrant. Well done, Joyce. Gets the point. It is a lawyer. Well done, Joyce. That's what they call it. Which female was a host of both Saturday Superstore and Going Live? The program's called Saturday Superstore and Going Live. What was the name of the female who hosted the program? It wasn't Sarah Cox. And you've got to spell her surname correctly. Actually, I'm going to make you spell it correctly. No, actually, well, fair enough. Simon Coates, you have the point because you get a fourth point because you spelled her name correctly. It's Sarah Green, and Sarah Green, her name is spelled Greene. So no, people who spelt it the other way. No, let's have the correct spelling. I've always said in my quizzes, I want correct spelling. So I actually think I will now insist on a rule. If you don't spell the name right, you don't get the point. Forget it. Let's have cancellation of anybody who doesn't spell. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
No, we can't have incorrect spelling because that's not the same person, is it? Sarah Green, spelled Grehn, could be like Philip Green, and we don't like Philip Green, so bog off. So no, I'm sorry, Joyce, whoever it was gets the point. Anyway, let's stick with that. Okay, now we've got to have correct spelling in the future. I will now insist there is a correct spelling rule going forward. Right, okay. In which American state is Mount St. Helens famous for its volcanic eruption in 1980 located? It's not Ohio, it's Washington, yes. So Daniel gets another point. Daniel, you're now in the lead. Of course, I went there with my mum and we drove up there and our car broke down and we got stuck there. And I loved being stuck there because I was fascinated by every bit of the vegetation. It was a wonderful day out. And we had to wait for someone to come and rescue us. My mother was not so pleased because she took me there because she thought it would be a bit of a entertainment for a 10-year-old child. But no, it was the 18th of May. Sorry. I think it was the 18th of May, yes, 1980. And I loved exploring the rock face and all of it. And I loved looking at it. I had a wonderful time. My mother was less than amused because the car had bloody broken down. And it was a very expensive car too. And it just didn't work. I don't know. I think it was some Cadillac Escalade or something, and it didn't work. Anyway, get my mother going on that subject. Not a good idea. We won't talk about that anymore. Anyway, right. Next question. In which year did Lou Ottens, the inventor of the cassette tape, die? He also helped develop the CD. He's Dutch. What year did he die? Lou Ottens, the man who invented the cassette tape. Oh, I've got to scroll down. Oh dear. Oh, this stupid thing is useless. See, I'm totally useless with technology. I need an assistant. I need a Debbie McGee. It wasn't 2012. It wasn't. Yes, Simon Coates. You can have the point. Simon Coates, which takes you into joint first position. It was 2021. Right. Okay. I'll not interrupt with any more of my family stories. What type of car has long been associated with the deservedly loathed estate agency firm Foxtons? Which type of car was associated with the hideous estate agency firm? Lady Min hates Foxtons.
Yeah.
Yes, we all hate Foxtons. They're horrible people. Which type of car? Lynn's gets the point. It was the Mini. Yeah, they drove around with green and yellow Minis. Awful. They ruined the Mini brand, in my view. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah.
They destroyed that poor company by being associated with that awful estate agency. Vile, horrible people. There was this disgusting woman, Olivia Brocklebank Fowler, just a horrible, horrible woman. Estate agent, lowbrow person. I called her Olivia Brocklebank Growler. Awful. Wouldn't you agree?
I like her.
Oh, you like her? Oh, God. Well, that's a contradiction in like terms, isn't it? We don't agree. I thought she was absolutely horrible. Anyway, next question. In which somewhat offensive poem did Philip Larkin reference fools in old style hats and coats? Which poem? What's the name of the poem? It wasn't Janet Evans. No, she was equally awful. She's just as bad as Brocklebank Fowler. There's another. They're two awful women who they should go into business. It wasn't The Poison Tree. No, The Old Fools. You're getting close, but you're not quite correct. Paws, claws, and jaws. You get a third point, which takes you into third position. It is this be the verse. It's they fuck you up, your mum and dad. They do not mean to, but they do. But they just add a bit extra for you, basically. It was Philip Larkin, a very famous poet, and I can't read the whole poem because it's quite offensive, but I'll probably get banned for YouTube for just bringing up that bit. Okay. Who was the founder of the London-based Kit Kat Club in the 1980s? It was a female-friendly gathering place. Who was the founder of the female-friendly cat gathering place? Given what she did next, interesting that she was a founder of a female-friendly gathering place. No, it wasn't Fergie. Right. It wasn't Miriam Margales or whatever she's called. Nope. It wasn't Anita Dobson. I think you mean Anita Dobson. It wasn't Anthea Turner, no. It wasn't Vivian Westwood, my friend. I never knew Vivian Westwood. Um, I just don't like Vivian Westwood. I think Vivian Westwood is a tax evade. It was a tax evading crook who lived in Liechtenstein and conned people and was very involved with that awful man, Julian Assange. I just don't like her. Awful. It wasn't Cilla Black, who is an awful, awful, vile, sick in the head woman. No,
So,
it wasn't Lady Spencer. No, it wasn't Sophie Loren. Mr. Lee Kicker, he's now a free man. Well, yeah, good for him, but it doesn't mean that he's a good man. I don't like him. You're not doing very well at my question. Who was the founder
the Kit Kat Club.
of the Kit Kat Club in the 1980s? No, none of you get it right. It wasn't Jimmy Tarbuck. It was a woman. It has to be a woman. It's a female-friendly gathering place. It wasn't Pamela Anderson. No, she operated a restaurant down here in Saint-Tropez with a local crook who wants to rent this very house I'm sitting in. But that's not who it was. It wasn't Annie Lennox, and I love Annie. Annie and my mum, great friends, wonderful, fabulous. We love Annie Lennox. Annie Lennox is one of the best people on the planet. It wasn't Carol Coleman. I don't know who she is. It wasn't Mariam Margolyes. I don't really think she's a very pleasant person. It wasn't Paula Yates because she's dead. She's brown bread. Let's be honest. It wasn't Lady Wharton. I don't know who Lady Wharton is, to be honest. It wasn't Tara Palmer Tompkinson. Now, please don't be nasty about Tara. Please. It wasn't a gay club, no, but leave Tara out of it, please, because Tara was one of my lovely, lovely friends. Lovely, so nice. I don't want you picking on Tara Palmer Tompkinson. Please respect the memory. Have some decency, whoever you are. Yeah, I know you're trying to provoke me. Whoever you are, you're probably Sam Palmer or something. Go away. Go away. It wasn't Helen Mirren.
Sarah.
It wasn't Esther Ranson. It wasn't Lisa Tarbuck. Anyway, none of you have got it, so I'm going to give 0 points. Of course, the answer was Ghislaine Maxwell. You stupid people. It was Ghislaine Maxwell who founded the stupid Kit Kat Club. It wasn't Victoria Harvey and it wasn't Liza Minnelli. Anyway, there you go. So no, not one person gets a point. At the moment, we've got 2 people in joint first. So we've got a final question. Now, on the final question, I'm going to only allow 2 people to answer because we've got Daniel Wildgoose on 5 points and we've got Simon Coates. So Daniel and Simon, are you ready? Please, Daniel and Simon, tell me you're ready. I'm going to pour myself another whiskey whilst you tell me. So, right. Daniel, are you ready? Simon is ready. Yes. Simon's ready. Is Daniel ready? Right. Daniel and Simon. Tiebreaker, yes, Harriet agrees. Harriet is my wonderful moderator who helps all the time. Harriet, you are the most lovely lady. I'm sorry I don't reply to your emails very often, but you are fabulous. Right. We've got Daniel versus Simon. Is Daniel ready? Daniel, let's be having you. Otherwise, we just award a point to your alternative. Daniel? Simon, we have ready. Simon is ready. His phone has died. Can he use mine? Says Lauren. Yes, he can use yours, Lauren. But are you ready? Him? Lauren? You're saying his phone has died. Can he use yours? This is a bit of a plot twist. We can't have somebody who isn't somebody being the person. Simon thinks he's now Debbie. Right. Well, we're offering the person a chance. Otherwise, I would award it to Simon, because quite frankly, I do think this is a bit of a foolish situation. No. I don't think I can be giving the phone to somebody else. It's ridiculous. Okay. No. We've got two people here. We need a resolution. It's time for the duel. So, the person who was suggesting that they could. Oh, Daniel is now back. Hello again, Daniel. Right. Okay. So we've got Daniel versus Simon. Right. Okay. So your final question is this. And whoever answers this question correctly, and I will only accept answers from Daniel Wildgoose and Simon Coates. I don't care about any of your other answers. The rest of you, keep your mouths quiet. You're not to even bother. Please do not interrupt. Do not interject. I'm like Anne Robinson. I love my Annie. Anyway, she's the fabulous, most wonderful person in the world. Anyway, which boring, braying blabbermouth wrote a book published in 2011 titled Chavs, the demonization of the working class? So I need an answer from Daniel Wildgoose or Simon Coates. Right. The quickest of you was Daniel. So Daniel is the winner. You get 6 points. Daniel, you actually managed to win. Well done to Daniel. And well done also to Simon, because Simon, you were very patient. But Daniel came back and he won. It was very close, but there we go. So the two of you have to spur again in different quizzes, because we've got lots more quizzes. I've got that's just a few more I've written. Lady Min will tell you I've written lots of quizzes. Yes?
Yes.
I do write lots of quizzes. We will see whether you can do it again. But we thank you both for your participation, and we respect you both for participating hard. And, one of you got there quicker, fastest finger first. That's all. There's some very odd noises outside here, but anyway, I hope you didn't hear that, but it was just a bit odd. That wasn't a seagull, that was some mad people. Right. Anyway, I do apologize, and I will say thank you all for participating in that quiz. That was fabulous of you. Right. I don't think we'll do another quiz tonight, because I don't think I can cope with any more of quizzes. I have been going on other programs for an hour before this. I've done 2.5 hours on this. So now I've done 3.5 hours, which is rather a lot. I don't think you realize this kind of drains you. You have to, when you keep talking solidly and you don't stop, it is a bit hard work. Other people may sit there and looking at you, but when you actually have to speak all this time and you don't stop speaking and you're constantly doing this, it is hard work. So anyway, no. So I'd like a few more questions before we leave, if you want. I'll do those. Yep, do that. I'm happy to do a few questions. So I'll do a few of those, but I won't be staying that long because I've done 2.5 hours on this, 2 hours and nearly 45 minutes on this, and I did an hour before this on another program. So I'm a bit exhausted. I'm worn out, I have to say. I cannot. And I had to do all the preparation as well, which takes hours. So, questions, please. Questions. Yes. Have I met Kate Moss? No. Never met Kate Moss? No. Can't say I did. Have I been to Thirsk races? Yes, I've been to Thirsk. Lovely place. Absolutely fabulous race course. I love all the weird race courses, the smaller ones. I love Cartmel, for example. That's one of my favorites. I love little old Cartmel race course because it's a wonderful, undiscovered place. I love horse racing. Anything to do with horse racing that gets me going. Lovely. Have I been to Goodwood Festival of Speed? Oh yes, I love Goodwood. Festival of Speed and the other one. Yep, love both. Absolutely fabulous. I love Goodwood. Wonderful place to go. Absolutely great. Again, nice day out. Cartmel sticky toffee pudding. Well, my mother's friend is the owner of Cartmel Sticky Toffee Pudding. Absolutely wonderful thing. A business she started in her post office. Absolutely lovely, lovely stuff. Lady Min has had some with me. It's absolutely one of the best things you could ever have on the planet. The Cartmel Sticky Toffee Pudding. With that, with a bit of cream. Ooh, woo, lovely dessert. Absolutely wonderful. Used to do the market at Cartmel races. Well, Cartmel, yep, everyone loves Cartmel. My mum's best friend, who lives in Australia now, they own the house next to the Priory in Cartmel. They own the oldest house in the whole town, and it's currently for sale for a huge, ridiculous figure. And I used to love going to that house because it had tunnels underneath it, and I went in one of these tunnels once, and I explored it. And it didn't go quite to this priory, but it went near it because obviously it had been blocked up at the end. But I had a lovely time exploring, and me as a weird child who liked being interested in everything, I loved this place. Anyway, it's for sale. This house now. I wish I had the money to buy it. I'd love to go and live in that house. But anyway, I don't think I'd really want to live in that there, really. No, I couldn't live there. It'd drive me mad. The place is full of tourists. Anyway, Lady Min and sticky toffee pudding. Yes, you like the sticky toffee pudding.
Yes, I do.
You had the sticky toffee pudding from Cartmel. She doesn't remember, but anyway.
I love it. I don't know what Carmel is.
Cartmel. It's from Cumbria. The one I gave you. Oh, she doesn't remember.
Yeah, very nice.
Yes, it's very nice. It was from my mother's friend's place from her post office. She made it there. Anyway, she started the business in a post office. She sold it in the post office, this silly little sticky toffee pudding. And along came this man She didn't know who he was, and he was from Waitrose. And he said, "This stuff is very good." He said, "We want to have it in our shop." And this lady, well, she ended up with a business with thousands of containers of it going out because Waitrose said, "We want it." And she ended up making thousands of containers of it. So well done to her, wouldn't you say?
Brilliant.
She was a small business who grew because somebody spotted her and thought, "You're fabulous." And she started off in a post office. Isn't that a wonderful story?
Amazing.
And that is a positive news story. And that's the kind of thing we like to share also on this channel, because I don't like all the negativity in the world. You know, I'd share all the bad news but it's like the ladies who I talked about during the lockdown who made the what was it, the, I don't know, flapjacks, and now they've got 20 shops. It's wonderful. These two old pensioners who'd retired and they were bored, so they started making flapjacks and selling them during the lockdown, and now they've got 20 shops. Isn't that a wonderful story?
Amazing.
And we did that story courtesy of our wonderful Cult TV person who's here. I don't know if he's still here. Cult TV, where are you? Cult TV, come out of the woodwork. If you're there, tell the story that you wrote because you ate the flapjacks. That's what they're called. I don't eat things like that myself because I can't stand them. But I don't really like sweet things. I like cheese. But anyway, never mind. But it's a great business story. Right. Matt Grant says, "I will sound very controversial, but I don't think the UK government will be allowing the construction of giant mosques. I realise that won't make me popular." I don't know. Well, I don't really want any mosques. Sorry. So why? I don't want any mosques myself. So there we are. If I had to take a choice, a weight loss solution, I don't need to take a weight loss solution. I'm absolutely the thinnest person on the planet. I'm losing weight at a rate of knots. So no, I won't be taking Ozempic or a tapeworm. No, I don't need to take any choice of either. Sorry, no, I don't want to take either. No, I will not be taking any weight loss things. Why do I need weight loss? I'm extremely thin. No. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, the person going on about me about weight loss, please go away with your weight loss. I'm not interested in your weight loss question. Absolutely stupid. Do I need weight loss?
No.
I don't need any weight loss. No, I don't need to go on Ozempic, I don't think. I'm not fat. We have a friend round the corner we call Mr. Blobby. He is fat and he's diabetic and he's completely mad and he just drinks and eats all day.
You need to eat Welsh cakes.
I do not need to eat Welsh cakes, whatever they are. I need to eat things I actually enjoy. I need to gain some weight. Andrea Bono is trying to put on weight. Yes, I agree with you. I'd like to put on some weight, but I don't have the kind of food I want here at the moment. I need to get the food I want. I know what I want. I'm eating my mini cheddars, which is a start. I'd love to have some more of my English food. Sorry. The French food is very nice. Tomorrow we'll go and visit a nice place before we go to the hospital, which serves lovely food, and that will be nice, hopefully, if we go there. They serve lovely food, but some of the food here is like dog food. It's really bad. Um, we do have we do find a lot of the food is not very good. But the place tomorrow might be quite good if we go to the place that I think we should go to before we go to the hospital. So that would be a good idea. Um, but in life in general, I like to eat certain kinds of food. I'm very particular about food. I like simple, good food.
Curry.
But I love a curry and I'd love a Chinese right now, and that's something else I'm missing. So no, that's not what I want particularly. But no, I love the food at the places like Bellamy's and the food at that's the kind of food I love. Um, hmm, yep, definitely. Anyway, next question. You're trying to put weight on. I need some Cartmel sticky toffee pudding. I definitely do. Can you put some in a vacuum pack and send it down? I'd love some of that. You're currently eating beans and cheese on toast, Lauren. Oh, I've never heard of beans with cheese on toast, but beans on toast, yes, but not with cheese. I don't know about that. That's an odd way of doing it, but if that's the way you like it, well, good for you. Right. Harriet wants to know where we're having lunch when I'm back in London, but she doesn't like a McDonald's fillet of fish. No, we won't be having a. Well, we'll have to go to PJ's, of course, because that's the natural spiritual home. We all love PJ's, don't we?
Yeah.
Lady Men loves PJ's, yes.
Good food.
And we love Owana.
Yeah.
Owana is a lovely lady, isn't she, who runs it?
I like them all though.
No, but Owana who runs it.
Yes.
Yes. So how tall am I? I have no idea my height. I can't remember. 5'9", I suppose. Something like that. You're a cheese fiend. Okay. Well, do I like Kitty? No, I don't like Kitty. That horrible Cliff Richard. He's revolting. No. Have I ever had a female celebrity hit on you when you've been interviewing them? I've been pestered by certain women. Yes, I will admit. I think you know who all the unpleasant ones are because I've made it very clear. Right. Will Nick be there? Oh, yes. Lady Min doesn't really like Nick.
Like what?
Nick.
Who's
No.
Nick?
It doesn't matter who she knows who he is. No, you don't. She doesn't like Nick. No.
I love my Nick. Yes, I love him.
No, she's got a different Nick. But anyway, she doesn't like that particular Nick. No. Yes, American Nick. No, I don't think he's someone she likes. Have I ever been to a boiler room? What's a boiler room? Is that a room where heating goes on? That's a very strange question, Lauren. I don't know. I've never been to a boiler room, as far as I'm aware. A room where a boiler is housed, I suppose. Or is that financial scam? No, as far as I'm aware, don't know. Right. Have I ever met Jodie Marsh? Yes, of course I've met Jodie Marsh. She used to ring me up and she used to go, I'm ringing you for a bit of a tinkle tankle. I never understood what she meant. She was completely mad. So I blocked her number. She was completely nuts. That was Jodie Marsh. Friend of now she's doing a thing with Katie Price. The pair of them are completely nuts. Awful people. Ghastly. Was it Cilla Black? No. Well, I don't blame Cilla Black for that. Jodie Marsh is Jodie Marsh. She's just awful. Cilla Black was a thoroughly awful person too, but couldn't stand her. Awful. One of the worst boring people I've ever had to spend an evening with was Cilla Black. Listening to her going on about how she'd had her name sewn into the headrests of her car. I've never known anyone bring up such a boring story. Absolutely awful. Right. Was Jodie Marsh wearing her braces? Um, no. I met her with some kind of man who'd worked at the Sun who was a PR. He was a rival to Max Clifford. I can't remember what his name is now. It was at the hotel in Portland Place opposite the BBC. It was to do with a jeans brand, and she was going to wear the jeans, and that's all I remember. And it was many years ago. It was when I was at university. It's like 25 years ago. I can't remember the full details of the story. But she kept ringing me up, going, "I want to give you a tinkle tankle, and I want to have a chit chat." And she kept ringing me. She's completely mad. The woman was completely mad. She's insane. I think she's been transsexual, lesbian, whatever ever since. And she dresses up in all these silly clothes, and I don't know what she does. She's the most boring person I've ever met. Awful. Yeah, Tinkle Tankle was her thing. She goes, "I'm giving you a Tinkle Tankle for a chit chat." I don't. I always remember it. Did I ever meet Jay Goody? No, I never met Jay Goody in my entire life. Poor lady. I'm very sorry for her death. Poor lady. I'm very sorry for her. Have I ever been to Benidorm? No, I've never been to Benidorm. No, no, I can't possibly comment because I've never been. She looks after animals, Jodie Marsh. Well, we all campaign for animals, but it doesn't mean that this whole bag's any better than anything else. Didn't really like this weirdo. Anyway, right. So, what's the next opinion on all of this? Matt Grant says if she looks after the animals, I like her. Right. Well, you're very kind. You're very tolerant. Gosh, I didn't know we'd get to this time. I used to love Cilla Black when she was on Blind Date. Okay. Well, good for you. I had to put up with Cilla Black for a dinner for 2.5 hours, and I had to listen to that old banging on about how she'd had her name sewn into the headrests of a bloody Bentley. And then she banged on about something else, and it was just so boring. I've never met such a boring person in my life. I really just did not like her. I'll be honest. Nobody, she just wasn't my kind of person. So there we go. Some people like Cilla Black. Some people loved Cilla Black. But yeah, Cilla Black was an apologist for Jimmy Savile, Cliff Richard, and all the others. Class act she was. Associate of all that lot. Wonderful lady. Not my kind of person. Sorry, I am not going to be having any nonsense said in support of an apologist of all these horrible paedophiles. She really got it wrong. And when she died, her grave in Liverpool was vandalized because the people of Liverpool didn't like the way she disrespected them. So they attacked her grave. That's how bad it was. No, I'm not saying she deserved that. And why was her? Why was her when she died? Why was the door locked from the wrong way? Now that's a bit curious. I will admit, I will say there is something strange about the death of Scylla, because Scylla got sunstroke because she was drunk. She was pissed out of her mind and she fell over on the patio or whatever. But the door was locked the wrong way round. So it did raise suspicions. So there we go. If you're a conspiracy theorist, you may have a theory. So please leave me a theory if you have a theory. I will welcome your theories and I'll talk about them on another occasion. But yeah, did we think that Scylla's was knocked off? Yes. Did I ever met Bobby Davro? No, I never met Bobby Davro. God, thank God. And I did meet Jim Davidson, and he is the most vile person. I was once in the Carlton Club, St. James's Street, with my mum. My mum and I went there for a bit of afternoon tea because I was a member and I was allowed in, of course. And my mother said, I don't want to be here. I said, Mummy, what's wrong with it? What's wrong? She said, that man is over there. And she took one look and it was him, Jim Davidson, comedian. She said, I think we'll go back to the Ritz Hotel. So I took my mother back to the Ritz Hotel because my mother said, I will not be in the same room as that vomit-inducing man. And my mother was right, because what's happened since? Well, Jim Davidson has been proven to be an associate of Gary Glitter. He goes to visit Gary Glitter in the Verne prison in the Isle of Wight. Gary Glitter is one of the worst paedophile pop stars ever to have existed. So my mum spotted the wrong un in the corner who supported Gary Glitter. So my mum, I give you a salute. Don't you agree?
I don't know anything about this man.
Oh, you don't know anything about Gary Glitter?
Oh, I do know about him, yeah.
Yeah, my mum called him out.
Oh.
And Jim Davidson. Oh, she's not listening as
Oh,
usual.
I saw him in Thailand.
She's not listening.
You were talking about somebody called Davidson.
No, Jim Davidson, who supported him. Jim Davidson, the comedian. Anyway, my mother was quite correct. So there we go. Anyway, it doesn't matter that Madam doesn't listen. My mother got it completely 100% right. Yes, mother knows best. Did I meet Eddie the Eagle? Yes, I did meet Eddie the Eagle. I thought he was great. Great fun. Nice man. Totally different. Jamie Ann Curry says, I used to stay at the Carlton Club. Met the most arrogant member, had to imagine. I was watching a theatre performance. I don't know what that means, but there we go. Eddie the Duck. I thought you meant Eddie the Eagle. Have I ever got lost in a foreign country? I think I got lost the other day when I went out for a drive. Yes, I did get lost. Yes, I did get lost. I don't know where I ended up. So of course I got lost. Right, Gary Glitter is a very evil man. As you all know, I've written a lot about Gary Glitter because Gary Glitter nearly came to live near Broadstairs. He was going to be kept in Margate. He was put into what's called a halfway house and immediately got a black phone and immediately went wild. So he's a very wicked man. Anyway, it doesn't matter because he's back in the Verne prison. But he is supported by the horrible Jim Davidson. And my mother, many years ago, was right to call out that horrible man, Davidson. You know, he's a 6x6. He's got 6 children by 6 women or whatever he's got. He's a revolting, horrible kind of weirdo, and he's a racist. He's a bigot. There's nothing redeeming about Jim Davidson. He makes people's skin crawl because my mum just said, "Let's get away."
Oh,
She was right. And I don't like people like him. Bad news. So, next question. Next question. Okay, well, if we have no more questions, I think it's time to put a certain person to bed. I think that's a good idea. So I shall probably end this program and say thank you very much. I can't answer Harriet's questions and all of that right now because that would be inappropriate. But I understand the joke. Yes. So well done to you all for joining in. I think thank you especially to Harriet, who is a great supporter of this channel. You are absolutely amazingly helpful, and it'd be lovely to meet you one day. We will meet in London or somewhere else. Anyway, all your other questions, please let's save them for another day. I'll say thank you very much. Good night. Sleep tight. Good gardening, and have a wonderful night. Take care. Bye bye.